Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are here for the greatest rivalry tour. This one has been much anticipated for quite some time. It is the Stormers versus the All Blacks. That's a sentence that some people, before this tour was announced, may have never thought they'd be seeing again. But the first leg of what is a very exciting tour for this All Black side. Bit of a rotation team for this matchup as they are playing the Sharks in only a few days' time, but the Stormers, still a pretty decent looking team on paper, even with their Springboks absentees. But I hope you guys are excited. It's currently 4 a.m. here in New Zealand. Got about an hour till kickoff, but we're looking through everything to do with this greatest rivalry tour. These two sides going head-to-head, and then, of course, what else is to come over the weekend here as well. Hope you guys are all doing very nicely though, and hope you're all wide awake. It is currently, like I said, 4 a.m. It's a nicest kickoff time for you guys in South Africa. 6 p.m. on a Friday night at the moment it is, so another hour puts you to 7, but we've got a whole heap of people in the chat already, and so much to talk about for this tour as well. We have got Kia ora Hamish from Yanko. Welcome in. Hope you're doing extremely well. Kia ora Hamish bro says Matthew. Welcome in. We got George has said this won't even be close. Well, this has been quite an interesting week when it comes to these two sides, because there's been some people who are adamant that the Stormers side are going to cause the upset, and then there are others who seem to think that the All Blacks are going to absolutely dominate. Now, there are a few in the middle, and I'll be honest, I'm not too sure how I see the early stages of this game going, but I do think in the long run, we're going to see the All Blacks do a lot better. Second half, bit of cohesion coming in, and then perhaps being able to extend that scoreline just that little bit more too. We've also got Matthew has said go the All Blacks. If they don't win, it will be a disaster for New Zealand. Yeah, it's certainly not the way you want to get off to a greatest rivalry tour, is losing to one of the URC franchises while they are missing some of their main Springboks, although they have still got a few handy names across this lineup. We'll be going through the teams in a short moment. We've got Denise going 29 to the Stormers, 21 to the All Blacks. All Blacks by 32 from Claus. And go the Stormers. All Blacks are looking awesome. Hope the Stormers put up a good show, says you think. And there as well, and at 6 p.m. in Port Elizabeth, welcome, says Paul Floors, and hoping for a fun game. By the way, did you see Nonu was in the Sharks squad for the next game? I did. Mata Nonu up against the All Blacks, who, again, there are things happening for this greatest rivalry tour that just don't normally happen. The fact that Mata Nonu is going head-to-head up against the All Blacks is definitely not something that anyone saw coming. If the Stormers win tonight, then Hamish to shave his eyebrows live on stream? No, I do kind of want my eyebrows for the next few days. It's very cold in New Zealand at the moment, so they'll be giving me just that little tiny bit of extra heat. We have got there, Oi Hamish. All Blacks lose all the games by 50 points. Yeah, that would not be a good tour for the ABs. Have a good stream. Hamish says, Vickenberg Rugby, same to you, boys. And Nonu is a sellout. So what you're saying is anyone who signs a contract with an overseas team, like just because they're playing the old side doesn't really matter too much. Like he's there because of what he's going to be able to do for that upcoming URC campaign. It's just a little bit of fortune that it ends up working out that he does get to have a bit of game time against New Zealand too. Hi, welcome back to YouTube. Was missing you a lot, says Mohadin. And also we've got there Aldrich and Bridget. Also here from Port Elizabeth. So quite a few from Port Elizabeth watching in for this contest. What you call for this match? I'm going New Zealand by 25. I think that could also be a little bit harsh on the Stormers though, depending on what happens. And we have got their game starts in 57 minutes, right? Correct, yes. So we've got a little bit of time still to fill in, but of course there is plenty to talk about. Does Nonu counter or do a counter haka? How does that work? Who was it? Was it one of the players who were playing Samoa? Maybe, I can't quite remember. Someone may have a better memory than me, but someone on the opposition side who, I can't remember the game, but he did the haka back alongside them. Do you seriously think he signed a contract? Says Kiwi Rob. Yeah, that's how professional sport works. Normally you sign your contract and then you play for the side that you signed for. Are you doing Springboks game tomorrow? We are indeed, yes, alongside Japan versus Australia. Hi, says Yandre. Welcome in. And leave 44-year-old Nonu alone. The fact he's playing is incredible. Absolutely. The fact that man has had so many clubs, I think he's right up there in terms of some of the most clubs out of any player ever in terms of the world of rugby. And he's still playing pretty well too. I think that's the most impressive part. I saw him receive his jersey this week. Says Paul, and hi from Mauritius, so it's a draw at the moment. Says you think. And Nonu joined the Sharks. He might do the haka, says Irish Mick. But yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how he goes up against this All Black side, whether or not they do I don't think they'll target him. I think they'll just go into like just plain mode of trying to take down the midweek URC games. They've got the Lions, which has been said as the more tricky one out of the two because of the All Blacks saving players for the test match. But I think we'll still see a pretty handy side against the Sharks. 8 on New Zealand Sharks Tuesday. We are indeed, yes, getting on the patronism, watching the Delaware Ray music video right bloody now, says Neo. And also, are you making money? Get up this hour for the commentary. I don't think I'll be pocketing anything from the stream, but I'm happy to get up at these random hours. As you guys know, we do it pretty much every weekend. So we'll be good to go. Noto has taken a position from a South African up and coming. Says Kiwi Rob. Yeah, but he's also adding quite a bit of experience. He's adding. The thing is, some people look at it as signing an old player. Other people look at it as signing a double decade career of experience. And experience is massive. You grow on a beard, nah, it's going to be gone by tomorrow. And that's actually the truth as well. I think I'm shaving it tomorrow night. We have got the RK Tuesday. Says cool story. And the Sharks playing the All Blacks. I didn't see that on the tour. So 1 second, we'll go like this. We'll go like that. So these are the remaining. No, that's the Stormers. Hang on. We'll go like that and we'll go like that. That's the one we're after. The Sharks playing New Zealand. That has taken place on Wednesday morning New Zealand time at around 5 a.m. For you guys in South Africa, that is going to be a midweek kickoff on Tuesday night, 7 p.m. And should be a very intriguing All Black side. I believe it's actually going to be announced in only about 2 days' time. And that is how tightly compacted in these greatest rivalry tour games are. The Bulls, they will then be the opposition on the Sunday, the same time as we are seeing kicking off here. Then it is only 1 week away from the first test match of this greatest rivalry tour, the 4-match series. We see the first one on the 23rd of August or 22nd for you guys in South Africa. Then the Lions midweek, and then straight into 3 test matches, 2 weeks in a row. And then also that last one actually taking place in the USA. That's a 9 a.m. start time, so that's actually good for us here in New Zealand. Not so good for you guys in South Africa. I believe that will be an 11 p.m. kickoff, but I'm sure there'll be plenty of people supporting the green and gold no matter what hour of the day the matches are taking place. We have got there, please keep the beard, says Bracken there. I think it's getting a little bit scruffy though, so I'll probably end up shaving it, but I don't think it will take long for it to come back. More than likely, I don't think I'll be clean shaving it either. It will just be trimmed just that little bit more. It's Thomas of Argentina banned. Yeah, Thomas Albanos will not be playing international rugby or any rugby for that factor for quite some time. And is that All Blacks beard you growing? I guess, because it's not quite. It's dark brown, isn't it? It's not actually a black beard per se. We have it there, thanks for showing the clearest list yet. Says, also cool story, and also shave the beard, bro. You look better with a goatee or a mo. Says Sports Unfiltered. We'll be doing All Blacks versus Irish in a street fight 15 on 15. Haka Batten versus the Irish Sheila. No. Box cheater 1995, 2023. Says Matty. And also Springboks 4-0 over the Kiwis, says Mohadeen. Although I have seen a lot less of the 4-0 sweeps. Although, to be fair, Mile High has just said I'm predicting 4-0 sweep to the Box. The All Blacks to lose 2 midweek games. Sorry, sir. Says Mile High. But, yeah, it will be interesting to see the end result of this tour. Many are going 2-2. Some are going 3-1. There are the optimistic ones who are going 4-0 for either side. Did you take a break? No Curry Cup games, says cool story. Not really. It was just more so I was busy over both weekends. So decided that it would be a good idea to just skip a couple weeks in a row. Definitely with the hectic schedule that is coming up for the Greatest Rivalry Tour. Also been working a lot, so that's ended up factoring in a little bit. Do you know South Africa have won 4 World Cups? I had heard a little rumour. And it could be soon to be 5 as well, with how they're going at the moment. A good afternoon, Amish. Tell me, do you polish your forehead? Nah, it just stays shiny anyway. It's also strategic lighting. I know that you guys love a little bit of shine, so I try and stick the lights right up there so that it bounces off beautifully. We have got there, what kind of question is, do you polish your forehead? Just a normal day at the office on the Kiwi Lads chat. Our woman are playing in a once-off game too, I heard, says Irish Mick. And the Box will have never been this powerful. All Blacks are black and burnt toast, says Neo. But yeah, there's been quite a bit of back and forth between the fan bases, I have to say. It's quite interesting watching the difference between how a lot of the fans react compared to how the players react. The players have all been saying how much they are excited about getting to play the opposition, how much they respect them. And then the fans have just been back and forth in an ugly way all throughout the last few months. Same as great consistent commentary. That takes doing. Says Hayden there. And also, oh no, it's Had the Newspaper. Is it Had the Newspaper? Maybe. Had Ed. Wait. I see newspaper as the end. I'm not sure where it starts and where it finishes for the rest of it. All Blacks by 24. If they win, the game line be 40 plus. And also, I'm very curious on strategy for this game. The All Blacks back row intrigues me. Well, they actually had that late change as well. The fact that Peter Larkey now going to be playing as number 8. Was initially going to be starting as 7, but due to the sickness of Wallace Satiti, it meant that Segner went into 7, getting his first All Black start, so that's a pretty big call. Who's captain? Patrick Tuipulotu or Ruan Nel, depending on who you're looking at. Have you all forgotten that this is the last tour like this, or that the last tour like this, the All Blacks won? A lot of people probably have, because it's so long since we saw that last tour. I know that the first time these two sides ever played, it was when the Stormers were regarded as Western Province back in 1928. So it's almost been a decade since the first match between these two sides. And since then, they've only played 4 more additional times. The score, or at least the record for these two sides, the All Blacks winning 3, the Western Province winning 2. And I mentioned about it in my preview. That's actually a relatively high winning rate for an opposition up against the All Blacks with 40%. Although this one, of course, it's going to be a big day at the office for the Stormers side. Big day for the All Blacks too, in terms of some of those fringe players looking to find themselves into the test matches. There's a lot to prove for both teams. So I think that it should hopefully be a really strong 80 minutes of rugby. How long until it starts? We've got about the 48 minutes till the start of this contest. Still plenty to go through in terms of the squad for the All Blacks, what is to come in the near future, and also not just this near future, but more so the whole year of the All Blacks and the Stormers URC campaign. It is just around the corner. They have been out of action for 2 months, the Stormers team, so there'll be a little bit of rust, I would think. Some of the players have been playing throughout the Curry Cup, actually the Stormers 23 going to be playing in the near future. That's where we see the likes of a Marcus Muller, who many wanted to see in the starting lineup or reserves for this game. And we have got their first time the All Blacks played the Stormers, 1976. Western Province, the Cavaliers followed. Says Grant Mulder's there and can't wait to watch Segner beat the brakes off Evan Russ. Well, it's going to be a great head-to-head because both men have a great work rate and both men love getting into those breakdowns. I would say that breakdown advantage I would give to Segner, but pure physicality I would give to Evan Russ every day of the week. Now, it's whoever's going to be more disciplined, though. That's going to be the crucial part because Russ, he will score tries as we saw throughout the URC season. He was sitting right at the top in terms of the overall try-scoring sheet, but he also can give away a couple penalties a game. And that can sometimes cost his side that little bit, definitely in close games. And the Stormers have to have their discipline all throughout this 80 minutes. The All Blacks will win all the week matches, but not sure about any of the test matches, maybe the Baltimore game. Says, won't believe everything. And also, it's the All Blacks, no chance they lose to a provincial side, says Jan. And also, we've got Hamish, last time you did a stream, was when Spain won the World Cup. Says, from it's been a little while. I think it's been like, actually, no, we did the All Blacks lineup announcement, or the squad announcement, didn't we? That was Monday last week. So it's been like, I don't even want to do the maths, maybe like 10 days since our last live stream. There is a rumour about the 1995 World Cup. Says ball floors and 48 minutes. Tell you what, the chat is going at 1,000 miles an hour at the moment. Rico giving me PTSD. Well, yeah, out on the wing for this contest. I have to ask you the question, JP. I feel like I should know the answer, but I can't quite remember. If you had to pick Rico Ioane on the wing or the centres, where would you actually put him? I know that you'd say as far away from the field as possible normally. I got enough time to shower after work here in Pretoria, says Albert. Yeah, still plenty of time for the start of this contest. So anyone who wants to grab themselves a snack, or even you could even cook a meal, to be fair, 45 minutes, get something decent going. We have got there, I remember the Cavaliers. I am inside you. That's an interesting way to finish a sentence, Kyle Julius. Hope you're doing, I hope you're doing well, but not in that venture, I should say. But no, firmly sitting down at the moment. At the box, we're playing Western Province. We would expect 50-point win. So by the extension, All Blacks must be a clear 40 at least, says Chris there. And top 14 win the box easy, says Matthew. But yeah, it will be, I think a quick fire start between these two sides. We will go through the starting lineup, so ladies and gentlemen, seeing as we haven't actually read through the sides as of yet, we'll start with the home side, the Stormers. In the starting front row will be Vernon Matongo, Andre Higofenta, and Nedeling Foucher. Starting in at number 3, we have seen a bit of Springbok experience for Andre Higofenta as well as Nedeling Foucher throughout the last kind of 12, 24 months. We actually saw Fenta throughout the July internationals as well. Ardre Smith, he's a big old school type of lock. I do thoroughly enjoy watching him in the URC, and I feel like he'll be a great test for Patrick Tuipulotu in terms of bringing out that physicality. Connor Evans, he will be at 5, and then the loose forward trio. This is where this game could be won or lost for both of these teams. Dion Fourie, Hatshava Diamani, and Evan Russ slotting in as that number 8. Ahmad Khan alongside Ahmed as that 9 and 10 combo. Ahmed was brilliant for the under-20s throughout their most recent under-20 world champs. And he has got a kicking accuracy off the tee that is thoroughly impressive too. It is him versus Bowden Barrett, so the complete opposite when it comes to the ages of the players. Lilion Zas out on the left wing. Jonathan Roach and Ruan now make up the midfield. Again, people wanted to see Marcus Muller get the opportunity, but sadly does miss out here. Siabello Sinatla out on the right wing, and then Warwick Halland. That man has been talked about a lot throughout this week. Some people happy to see him, some people wishing he wasn't in the lineup, but it will be very interesting and very, I guess, testing to see what he is able to do up against this All Black side. But for the All Blacks, they had the late injury change in the loose forward trio, but that is the only change that we've seen for the All Blacks thus far. George Bauer, Samisoni Tolkiaho, and Pasilio Tossi will be the front rowers. Fabian Holland returns from his long injury layoff to slot in at 4 with the captain, Patrick Tuipulotu. Of course, with no Savia up until those test matches pretty much, it means that they did need someone else to fill that role, and that honour has gone to Tuipulotu there. He also had a brilliant last matchup at Eden Park, was able to score himself a very impressive try in the early stages of the game too. Simon Parker getting his first minutes of 2026, partnering with Anton Segner for his first start in the All Blacks. And Peter Larkai, he moves from 7 to 8 as he was initially announced to be in that 7 jersey. In the back line, Cortez Ratama alongside Bowden Barrett. So again, you look at Ahmed on one side with no experience, Bowden Barrett with an absolute ton of it. But Barrett's form has been up and down, so he will be wanting to prove himself on South African soil. Rico Ioane out on the left wing. He is the only player in this All Blacks lineup who has recently played up against the Stormers. His Leinster side able to get the victory in the semi-final not too long ago. Anton Leonard-Brown in the midfield with Billy Proctor at 13. Leroy Carter returns from his shoulder injury, and Josh Morby transitions from wing into the fullback role in the absence of Will Jordan. But those are your starting lineups, ladies and gents. We'll go through the bench in a very short moment based on the gameplay and the new style wing, despite him having lost his top end and lacking the skills that other world-class wingers have, says JP. And we have got there, do you think it's weird how South African pundits think the Stormers can win? Says Sports Unfiltered. I think that we've seen, I actually mentioned about it in the preview as well, this week more than I have seen in recent times, even throughout like the international rugby kind of side of things. This week I have seen a lot of predictions based off emotion rather than based off like any sort of stats, which is absolutely fine. And I do think that's what makes this greatest rivalry tour so special, is the fact that people are invested and they are very much so hoping that their sides can get the job done. Like realistically in this matchup, of course this statement could come back to absolutely bite me, but realistically the All Blacks have been together since the start of July. The Stormers haven't played a game in 2 months. The All Blacks are going with a experimental side per se, but it's still a very handy one on paper with a few players in some very handy form. The Stormers, they are missing their key players in the likes of a Damian Valimza and a Sasha Feinberg Ngome Zulu. And again, they just haven't played together. They've had guys in the Currie Cup getting opportunity, but as a whole, the side should show a little bit of rust because of not playing as of yet. Of course, they've still got the URC around the corner. That one's taken place in around about 49 days' time, I want to say. So I believe it's about 7 weeks away from the URC starting up. Russie called on Franz Steyn against the Lions. This is the same and can have the same impact, says Jan. And also, Akeem will be so good. But he's never faced a team of this caliber. I hope he has a good game. Good luck, the Stormers, says Bronze Men. Yeah, it's definitely a match and a half to get thrown into, isn't it? You know, you get that call They say, yep, you're in the team for this week. And by the way, opposition's the All Blacks. This is going to be your first opportunity to show what you can do. And he is a player in the under-20s who has shown his class. There is absolutely no denying that, but it's whether or not he can come up to this next level and then straight away find his form. Because I think the All Blacks will try and put him under pressure, the youngster, and that is where you do either see him managing to find those gaps, putting the pressure on, and, just creating that distribution that we've seen in that junior box setup. Will you be doing the Rugby League World Cup? We are going to be doing that one on the channel. That is not a mile away from starting up too, which is fantastic news. We have got there Easy R. Got some people say stupid things, says Rolik. And also we have there Bordeaux will win All Blacks easy. Well, they're not playing them. They weren't invited to take part in this tour. We have got there, don't know much about these players in the All Blacks tonight. Any standouts to look out for? I would say if you're looking at the All Blacks here, in terms of this lineup, for me, a name that comes to mind straight away, I think I'm a little bit biased towards him, but Peter Larkai. He is definitely the next in terms of the next Ardie Savia option kind of thing for New Zealand. Segner's got a good gas tank and he'll be looking to prove himself. Tui Pilotu showed that physicality throughout the Eden Park Test match, but I do think that the eyes will be on Fabian Holland to see whether or not he is at that same standard that he was before picking up that injury. And in terms of the back line, I would say I think I'm going Josh Morby, actually. The fact that he is back into that 15 jersey like we saw a little bit earlier on in the year. In terms of Super Rugby, he is a very versatile player. We talk about the fact that they've got Peter Larkai as the next Ardie Savia. People are saying about Josh Morby being the next kind of Conrad Smith type of player, or just a little bit of a mix between Will Jordan and a couple others, but definitely an exciting talent, good vision, and I'll be curious to see how he does it from the fullback role. We have got there Hyams from Durban. I would love the Stormers to win and upset the All Blacks, but deep down do not think the Stormers will win. Says Brian, hello, says Ant Plays. Welcome in, hope you are doing very well. And we have got there, it's just me, but I think the All Blacks have rested too many. Kind of feels like a Super Rugby match, says Real Bowers. Or the thing is, if it ends up being a little bit like a Super Rugby match, this one could be a bit more back and forth. But I do still think they've got enough foundation there in New Zealand because they've got a few guys who haven't played any minutes across their team. Rico Ioane, Bowden Barrett. They have got Simon Parker, Fabian Holland. Who else? Oh, off the bench, of course, they've got Lowerkey. They've got Blackadder, Jacob, and Preston. So they've got 9 players who haven't played a single minute of rugby. Over there, Josh Morby is a Conrad Smith type player. He's a Ben Smith type player. Says Gumby. See, I think he's still got that little bit more of a solider build like a Conrad Smith and seems to have that mindset of Smith as well with his distribution. But, of course, there are going to be a lot of comparisons to old school players. I think Justin Marshall said that he'd love to see him at 13 in the future, but I don't know whether or not the All Blacks would ever look at doing that. People have talked about Caleb Clark going to the centres for like 4 years, and it's never happened. We have got there the Stormers. Oh, speaking of centres, while we're at it, Duplessis Karefi, has anyone seen the fact that that man's playing 12 in the upcoming round of the NPC? Dave Reddy was asked about it. He said he had nothing to do with it, but good on him, pretty much. And hi, Hamish says, Des Vonde, welcome in. The selection decision is tactical. Don't worry, Reddy knows what he's doing. Let's go the Stormers, says Johnny Blaze and All Blacks. They win by a huge margin. Stormers will only have penalty kick points. I'm South African, but this that's what it's going to be, says Andrea. But he's a wing fullback, and that shifts around. Makes smart plays like Ben Smith Conrad was just an out-and-out 13. Says Gumby. Yeah, I think I'm more so talking about the build and that side of things rather than the actual positional side. But yeah, you are correct. He does play very similar positions to Bender. That man gets a lot of stick, doesn't he? Everyone thinks he's a journalist. So he has random people giving him hate comments on his Instagram. It's quite rough predictions. I went All Blacks by 25. And I feel like that's not too bad for either side. That would be considered as a good hit out for the All Blacks in their first contest of this greatest rivalry tour. And I think for the Stormers, that would probably put them not too far off a decent kind of scoreline. We've seen them a strong URC campaign, making it through to the semi-finals. And all right, fair enough with that comparison, says Gumby. And who's kicking for the Stormers and the All Blacks? Well, for the All Blacks, I assume it will be Bowden Barrett. And then maybe Josh Shakem off of the bench, depending on whether or not they leave Bowden out there for the full 80 minutes. For the Stormers, more than likely Ahmed, although Ahmad Khan can also kick. So I think they'd give Ahmed the honours, though. I like the beard, mate. It's probably going to leave, though. I was going to shave it later on tonight or maybe tomorrow, but we might keep it around for a bit longer. Getting a bit scruffy, though. I have to give it a tidy up. We have got there the Stormers. Says Matthew there. And also, my son in Wellington is a Stormers fan, but he also loves the All Blacks and, of course, the Springboks. Says Andrea. And New Zealand only lost. Says Harden up. New Zealand only lost. I feel like that one cut in early, didn't it? Pretty dumb. The South African URC sides aren't at full strength. Would have been great to play stronger sides. True, but at the same time, I can understand why they aren't full strength. Like, at the end of the day, the reason that they haven't got their full team here is because a couple of them are playing for the Springboks. You know, Sasha Feinberg and Gomez Zulu coming back from his injury. He will be going into that starting lineup for the Boks this weekend up against Argentina in about 28 or 26 hours' time. But yeah, I do think that Valimza and Sasha are the two big exclusions for the Stormers side. I'm trying to think through at their forwards. Is there any forwards that they're missing? I feel like a lot of the other guys are from either the Bulls or the Sharks in terms of that lineup. Is this All Blacks B or C team? I'd say it's just the team at the moment, not the full-on test match side, but it's still a very handy team on paper. I think that we're almost... The way I look at rugby now is we're almost past the stage of B teams, C teams, because everyone's good enough to be there. So this is an experimental side. I think that's the better word for it, but it is still very handy. And honestly, if you chuck it up against a lot of other sides around the world internationally, it probably do pretty well as well. We have there Howdy Hamish in the chat, says Operator Hoop, welcome in. And also, I'm going on a date with the Briscoes ladies' daughter tonight. Any advice? Their Sports Unfiltered. I would say don't call her the Briscoes lady, like her mum, because or else that will probably get you in the dog box straight away. And Cape Town tonight, and the word around the campfire is that the Stormers are going to be respectable and not maybe surprise us all, says Red Howe, and I think 5 either way, says Almar. And there's still a strong Stormers side. Don't get me wrong, they certainly are, but they also haven't played rugby for 2 months as a unit. They've had guys who have been playing in the Curry Cup, but at the same time, it is very tough to come into a game. Yes, you could say that the All Blacks, they haven't played a game for 2-3 weeks, somewhere around there. Fantastic. Finally, old school tour. Test matches plus provincial games for players that will never play test rugby, says Paul Fisher. And also Morning Lads says Steady Bang and there too. But we should look through at what the All Blacks have been able to do throughout their recent times, ladies and gents, as well as what the Stormers have done. Now, it's been, like I said, a little while since we've seen the Stormers in action, but for the All Blacks, they were in action all throughout July for the Nations Championship, getting themselves the 3 victories, and the only other side to have the 3 victories throughout those matches was, of course, the Springboks for that contest, but 34-32, good solid game for New Zealand, and that was the first game under Dave Rennie where we got to see new tactics. It seemed like a much more attacking-minded type of New Zealand team, and it slowly improved throughout the other matches. We did see some hiccups early on against the Italians, but New Zealand dominating the second half, winning that one 47 points to 17, and then the game at Eden Park that I think a lot of people wanted to see be closer, ended with a 19 points gap, New Zealand winning 40 points to 21 up against the Irish opposition. For the Stormers, as you can see here, that's the last time they were in action. June the 7th, June the 6th in South African time, but they did lose to Leinster 20 points to 11. Before then, quarterfinal against Cardiff, managing to win it 44 points to 21, having a loss to Cardiff the week prior, or 2 weeks prior, sorry, and then also having that draw with Ulster. That was a game that either side really could have won, but in the end going down to the wire and no one able to split those two sides. But I think the biggest key to look at in terms of recent form for the Stormers is the only home game that they've played, they actually won. They've lost the 3 or drawn the away games, but the ones at their home stadium in Cape Town, they were the ones that they were able to bring the impact. Also, for anyone wondering about where they finished for the overall URC campaign, they were 3rd in the overall standings, just behind Leinster and Glasgow. It came right down to the wire. And as you can see, that draw that they managed to get actually boosted them above the Bulls in terms of the overall table. They also managed to receive that last-minute bonus point from the match up against Cardiff, being within the 7, which then meant that they were able to get one more then the Bulls 2. Of course, anyone who is unaware with the URC, Leinster managing to get themselves back-to-back titles for that last campaign. But the next game for the Stormers, while we are at it, we might as well show it. They are going up against Connacht, and that will be taking place in 7 weeks' time. From the Edinburgh, the Sharks, then we go straight back into the Champions Cup. It is really a hectic time in the world of rugby with plenty going on, plenty of exciting opportunities for players to show what they can do. And I think the squad for the Stormers will look a little bit different as the seasons progress, mainly because of the amount of transfers that we have seen for the South African sides as a whole. But they have managed to bring in, they've got Wilco Lowe, they've got, who else are the Stormers signed? They signed Sia Kolisi as another player in there. I think there's one more big signing that they managed to secure as well. We have got there, I'm watching the game on Stan Sports, whoop whoop. And finally, so excited for the Stormers missing 7 or 8 players, big physical All Blacks team. I'm a South African, but All Blacks take this one by 4 or 5 tries to 2, says Gavin. How's your morning going so far? It is fantastic. This has been absolutely flying by in terms of this build-up time. We're only 29 minutes away from the start of this contest, ladies and gentlemen. So, of course, do give me your score predictions if you haven't already. Who's taken out this victory? And we have got there what time is kickoff. Kickoff will be taking place at 5 a.m. New Zealand time, 7 p.m. for the South African side. Or, sorry, for the South African time zone. Who do we schmack or schmack? Did I mispronounce? I might have got that wrong twice for the pronunciation. Did I for the win today? By the sounds of it, the All Blacks are supposed to win this game. And there will be a bit of rust, I think, for both sides throughout the early stages, mainly because of the reshuffle for the All Blacks in terms of who's in the starting side, for the Stormers not being in action since June. But I'm hoping it's an entertaining game. We want to start off this tour with a bang. So if we get that, I'm a happy man. Greetings, Hamish, says Charles, welcome in. And don't make excuses, whoever loses, okay, just take it on the chin, says Bronze Men. And we have got there Chisel and Colby joining the Stormers. Says Mokhudin, yeah, of course, that is a pretty big signing, isn't it, that I should have mentioned. 28 minutes from the kickoff of this contest, only about 4 and a bit days until the next game has taken place of this greatest rivalry tour. It is all compacted in. I have no idea what I'm going to do video-wise in terms of the week because I am going to be absolutely flat out trying to get a lineup prediction out before this match up against the Sharks takes place, but they are just showing the Super Rugby sides in terms of the last time we saw them in action. The Stormers actually did a very nice job up against the Kiwi sides. I want to say that was way back in like 2012 that they clean swept the Kiwi sides. I might have the wrong date though. This will be the setup for the All Blacks. They will play coast to coast. I think they can do the same thing against the Box and come horribly unstuck. I called it here first, Hamish, says Charles, and also hello, Hamish, says Mark, welcome in. Why does this guy even read my comments? Or does this guy even read my comments? Says Neo, I try my best, but there are quite a few coming through at the moment. Your other one was towards Johnny Blaze, so I assume that one wasn't directed at me. So it's nothing personal. It's just there's too many coming through. We have got there 1976. There's Boss Loss. What was 1976? Was that the last time that the Western Province or the Stormers beat the All Blacks? Maybe. I assume that is. And we have got the All Blacks will be playing like it's a proper test match. And thank you, Hamish, AB's band in the UK here. So 6 p.m. kickoff. A much nicer time enjoy, says Luke Spanner. Great opportunity for the Stormers, guys. But it's the All Blacks, one of the greatest nations ever. All Blacks 100%. And yes, says Boss Loss. Okay, so looking back at a game in 1976, is that because that's happened in 1976, you're saying that all of these players who weren't born are going to be able to do the same thing, I would assume? And if the Stormers had all their current box available, the All Blacks team would not stand a chance. Says Albert, are you counting the guys who are signing next year as well, like a Chisel and Colby and whatnot, or only based off this season? I've been over 1,000 log into Kiwi Lads to follow this game. Let's push the likes up from 46. And also, does your mustache smell like Bry? No, sadly not. I haven't been invited to I've been invited to many Bries. I haven't taken anyone up on the offers as of yet. They are just showing that starting lineup again for New Zealand with that late change for anyone who was wondering about that loose forward trio. Initially, it was going to be Larkai as the 7 and Wallace Satiti as the 8. But due to the late change, it means that Larkai moves to 8 and Segner gets that chance as the number 7 instead. But looking through at the greatest rivalry, of course, It is coming up in the near future, but we've also got to remember there is another competition that has taken place involving the two sides going head-to-head in the test matches. New Zealand and South Africa currently jockeying for first space in that Southern Hemisphere part of the draw. They will be facing the number one side in the Northern Hemisphere in a head-to-head one-off final taking place for the Nations Championship. And in terms of the games coming up for the Kiwis, we'll go 1 second. Where is it? We want that one. That is what is coming up for the Greatest Rivalry Tour. But New Zealand also going to have their games up against the Australians. They have got the 2-match Bledisloe Cup Series and then also the November Internationals around the corner too. For anyone wondering about the squad for New Zealand, by the way, there are 44 players. There are unavailable players due to injury. Tamaiti Williams, Scott Barrett and Lester Whainanuku. And also, we should mention, there are a couple of the players who are still nursing injuries. The likes of a Cody Taylor, he'll be out for a bit longer. I think Fihifia Nofo is almost back by the sounds of it. And Narawa, I believe he is back too. But only the 3 halfbacks. Leroy Carter, the man who was kind of penciled in as the 4th option. But if there are more injuries, we will see players swapping in and out, just like we saw for George Bell earlier on in the week. He is out for the whole tour, and it meant that it was Bradley Slater who was added in as that replacement. We have got their huge All Blacks back, says Harden. I'm going with the Kiwis on this one. Final score, 35 points to 22 to the Kiwis. We have got their, hello, I'll watch the match now. That my son has arrived, says Paul Ford, so do enjoy the game. We have got there 1976, Western Province won the All Blacks 12 points to 11. Well, I can tell you right now, I hope it's a lot higher scoring than that. I know that in the old school days, we used to have some really close, low scoring tests. And this one, with these two sides and the attacking mindset of both teams, definitely under the new Dave Rennie kind of tactics, I'd be surprised if we don't see 50 points between these two teams combined. Maybe even closer to 60 or 70 in this matchup. We have there 36% say the Stormers win, 12-point win for the All Blacks. And also, you don't know what a braai is like, not the same as New Zealand barbecue, says Luke. Yeah, which is why I said that I haven't had one. I've had many New Zealand barbecues, mainly in the rain, because as soon as you say the word barbecue here in New Zealand, it decides to buck it down. Kiwis by 30 plus, says Slippy G. And Rennie Speaks, says Neo. And there, yeah, they were just having a bit of a chat with him before this game. They're talking about Fabian Holland being the breakthrough player of the year last season. And he did get injured in that preseason matchup against Moana Pacifica. He joined a breakdown, dislocated the shoulder, and he was out for the full season. It did hurt the Highlanders as a whole, although they did still have a few other players starting to step up. The likes of a Adam Lennox, the likes of a Lucas Casey was able to do quite nicely too. Timothy Tavanawai doing what he does, and that's beating defenders, which has earned him a spot in this All Black squad. Have you visited Cape Town before? I have not. I also haven't been to South Africa though. So there are a lot of places that if I was to go over, I would want to see before finishing the trip. We have got there, so after this match, Ardie Savia retires, accomplishing everything he desired. No, more than likely Ardie Savia is going to be hanging around for quite, well, at least that World Cup anyway, I would say. We have got there, my heart says Stormers, and if the All Blacks lose, that'll hurt. I'll go for that prediction, says Dallas, and the Stormers by 20. And man, but the All Blacks still have some stellar guys in there, says Neo. Yeah, well, even with the rotation, right, there's still a lot of great options. The guys who aren't playing in this game, even in terms of the guys who aren't considered as the test match guys. I'm going to show the squad again while we're at it. We're also only 21 minutes away from the kickoff, by the way. It is absolutely flying by in terms of this build-up time. But for this All Black squad, the guys who we aren't seeing in action as of yet, someone like a Cody Taylor, he will be in the test match scenario, you would think. We are going to get to see Lawaki make his way off the bench. In terms of other players, no, Xavier Numia, he's the perfect example of a guy who will be extremely crucial for New Zealand throughout this tour in terms of what he can bring that's just a little bit different to some of the other forwards. He's got some really impressive ball running skills for a man who's supposed to be wearing Lucia prop on the back or number 1 on the back. He definitely doesn't look like a number 1 when he's beating defenders and sidestepping and all sorts. We aren't seeing someone like a Josh Lord in action for this game. He had a great season to be able to earn himself a spot in this All Blacks environment. We aren't seeing Samisi Tupo Taialoa. That's a bit of an X-Factor player that not many people know about as of yet. Ruben Love, he'll be in the test matches more than likely. Timothy Tavanawai, of course, is a ball-running and defender-beating machine. So, yeah, there's plenty more options for New Zealand, and I think we're going to see quite a few of them in the match against the Sharks. New Zealanders love the Cape Town conditions. Super Rugby teams have more gas in the tank down by the seaside, says Finn. And this is actually a rare time when the loser Super Rugby fans meet up with the cool URC teams in the chat. It's a cool story, and hopefully Stormers by 5. Says Stephanie, so going with that narrow margin in favour of the home side. The crowd is starting to pile in quite nicely. Oh, okay, I have a question, ladies and gents. Someone who's from Cape Town Stadium probably knows a lot better. Is there like an area out the back that people like to hang out before the match gets underway? Because they're going to have to pile in a lot of people in 20 minutes to be able to fill up this crowd. So I'd assume that a lot of people are just chilling out the back, getting ready to come into the stadium, or they are just all piling in very quick succession. Do you love talking? It's all right. I don't mind talking. And the South African fans are delusional. Stormers by 20, says Sports Unfiltered. And Artie hasn't accomplished everything. No World Cup. Says Harden up there too. And yeah, he's certainly looking at that one. So is Dave Rennie. And we've got their Matanonu, playing up against the All Blacks on Wednesday, New Zealand time. Just saw it's on Sky Sports Mix channel and Ireland and UK Free Sports channel. Oh, perfect. Hopefully it is available. I know that actually if you're in New Zealand, I believe Sky were doing a thing earlier on in the week how you can watch this game for free. I think they'd given away day passes. There's a massive social area outside. I thought there was for Cape Town. So I'd assume that people are waiting out there as late as possible to then get into the stands. Do the All Blacks, they do the haka and the national anthem, right? Do the Stormers do the South African national anthem? I guess they would, right? Maybe. It would make sense. And honestly, the All Blacks are going to take this easy. It says Sim Race Journey. Along before kickoff, we've got another 17 minutes before this match does get underway. They overpriced the tickets. It's not going to be full. Says Young Rich Famous, which is a shame, isn't it? Like you would think. But again, if they're bumping up the prices for the pure fact that this is up against the All Blacks, like some people are going to buy them, but others will just watch the game from a local pub or anything like that. They're probably trying to get warm with hot chocolate in the social area, says Stephanie. Yeah, I haven't actually checked the temperature that we're seeing in Cape Town at this point in time. 1 second. I'll scroll to the side. Oh, that's my clock. That's not quite the one that will tell me the weather. It's currently 1 degree where I am. Hopefully it's a bit warmer than that in Cape Town. Well, we're looking at Cape Town, Western Cape. 15 degrees and cloudy. With only a little tiny bit of wind, like 9 kilometres. That's not too much to deal with. So it's actually going to be ideal kicking conditions for the youngster Ahmed, as well as for Bowden Barrett, whose accuracy does seem like it's gotten a little bit better the past couple of years. Do you think the Sharks will be playing in white against the All Blacks? I guess they'd have to, right? Unless the All Blacks have an alternative strip that they want to try and sell to, which could happen. A green point is where the stadium is, says how's it? And also I'm sitting in the doctor's office in Jamaica. The matches, where'd that go? Free on World Rugby YouTube in 18 minutes. It's on World Rugby's YouTube too. That's pretty awesome that they've got that as an option for countries that don't have other broadcasters. A team who scoreline tonight, says Sir. And I had a look. I was looking to take my kid to the show on the All Blacks. There's a lot of tickets unsold still, says Young Rich Famous Apparel. And discount and tries from the Kiwis, please. King Hamish make the declaration. I think we're going to see a lot of tries in this game. As I just don't see a way that either of these sides don't go just out there to try and really make a statement. What time does the match start? It starts in about 16 minutes time. In fact, a little bit less than that, about 15 minutes. If we are having the New Zealand national anthem and the haka, I would say that the players are only moments away from making their way out onto the field. If they chuck a South African national anthem in for the Stormers too, I would say we're probably like 5 minutes from them starting to get out. Hashtag Nation Championship and Greatest Rivalry is on YouTube. Says Mo there. And I live in Durban. I can see the Shark Stadium from my balcony, and you're my second best friend. Says cool story. And Hamish, another week's beard grown. You look like Ludiaka. It's probably not a bad... Well, yeah, because he's got a solid beard. Also back for the box I did see. But I was going to shave it. Now I'm not so sure. I feel like I might look a little bit weird without it. Lowest price I saw this morning was about 60 New Zealand dollars in the nosebleeds. Yeah, see, that's pretty rough. I feel like they should have done like a flash sale when they realised that it wasn't going to be sold out. just to try and get a few more people in. But of course, it's hard to do that in the last moments because then the ones who paid the full price, they get a little bit annoyed. We have got there, your mum, says Sean O'Connor. Are you asking how she is? She's doing well. I'm actually going to see her tomorrow. I assume that's not what you were asking. No, game starts at 7, right? Correct, yes. So we have got another 14 minutes to the start of this contest. Just looking through at the benches quickly. We haven't really brushed upon it, but what I will do is I'll put them as a big screen so that you guys can see them a little bit better. There we go. So for the Stormers, it is Jaja Kotsia Untutuku Machunu. I've mentioned all about that man in the preview. He is going to be one to definitely keep an eye on when it comes to this matchup. He has got dangerous ball running, and he's going to be a massive test for a lower key in his debutant match. Does this count as a debut, by the way, for the All Blacks? I guess it would be an international friendly, so it's probably not an official debut, I would say, in this case. But it will be Sunday in the number 18 jersey. Ackerman, Morabi, and Mlaba as the other forward replacements. Duvanacha and also Similani as that number 23. So a few familiar faces for the Stormers off of their bench with the, or I guess you could say the Springbok injection of Untutuku Machunu. And there as well for the New Zealanders, it is a Safwa Moore, Ollie Norris, and also Loaki. So 2 men who were added in to the All Black side, and then also a Safwa Moore who could be an absolute key player for New Zealand. Throughout this tour, Sanderi, who had some good form throughout the first 2 matches of the July internationals, he slots in as that number. Ooh. I didn't realise Springbok Women versus Black Ferns was in there. I know that someone mentioned it earlier on the 5th of September, the earlier game. We're going to have to cover that one on the channel too, I would think. But Ethan Blackadder as that number 20, Kyle Preston, Josh Jacob, and Caleb Clark as the back replacement. So Jacob, this will be his first taste of an All Blacks kit. Kyle Preston, this will actually be his first chance of the year too. So plenty of players looking to prove what they can do out there on the field. Morning, Amy says, Hammock, welcome in. Hope you are doing very well. It's currently 12:45 in Bali. Says, where are you? Well, we now know that you're in Bali. I'm in New Zealand, I guess, if we're basing it off your name. We have got there as $40. Says Mo there for how much it would be. And I hope my wife will go with, or go get me a whiskey. Please read this comment. Says Marnus. Well, hopefully she's not too annoyed. Shave if New Zealand lose. To be fair, shaving if New Zealand loses and just shaving my beard is pretty good for me. I feel like people wanted me to shave a lot more than just that. So, you know what? If New Zealand lose this game, I will shave the beard. We'll go with that. That's an easy forfeit. I'll take that every day of the week. We've done much worse. We actually got a buzz cut last year, so yeah, we'll go with just a nice facial shave. We have got there, good evening, Hamish. Says Rishi, welcome in. And we have got there Toulouse 54, the box 28. Says Matthew, and also wasted time, the woman easy win for New Zealand. Well, they actually had a game in the Rugby World Cup not too long ago, didn't they? And South Africa held their own in the early stages. By the end of the game, they did start to pull away with it a bit more, the Black Ferns, but it's still great to have the matchup taking place, I have to say. But looking through at the starting lineup, there are so many key players. I don't shave until the next one. See, here's Mo there. Just looking at that back line, though, for New Zealand, it is very much so, I don't want to say just randomly put together. There will be the big tactic behind it, but it's different compared to what we've seen throughout the other matches for New Zealand this year. Bowden Barrett getting his first minutes. We've seen Leonard Brown come off the bench and actually have a pretty decent impact. If you want to cut your hair, go with the shave in Haven, says Xander. And also here comes the big hiding for the Stormers, says get the gift. And 808 Hawaii, let's go the All Blacks, says Isaiah. And there too. But yeah, anyone who hasn't already, be sure to get those predictions. And also, who do you think will score the first try of this contest? Siali Lawaki, the chance here to show what he can do from the All Blacks jersey off of the bench with Josh Jacob. Lose the shirt if New Zealand win. Hoodie suits you better, says Joe Mann. It probably would, because I guess a hoodie's just a normal thing to wear, isn't it? Like, if I wore this shirt to the supermarket, people would be very confused. So, like, it's a much more casual look. I'll probably have it for the Japan versus Australia game tomorrow. You're safe. New Zealand won't lose. Probably a 20-plus point win for New Zealand, says Sean. And you're keen for the first try scorer. Well, he did actually score first, I believe, in that game up against the French for the under-20s final, didn't he? Joshua Moore be scoring. Says Short Loin there. And we have got there, Hamish, you don't ask about my aunt enough. Is that your comment or hers? Cool story. The Stormers winning would be a big surprise, and my prediction is All Blacks 80 for the Stormers. And we have there Patrick says Matthew for the first try score. He did do it at Eden Park not too long ago, so maybe Patrick Tuipulotu could do it again. Are you growing the beard for the All Blacks winning streak? No. Although I don't think I've shaved since they won their first game under Dave Rennie. Maybe that's the key to it. By the World Cup, I'd like to think I'd have like a big full beard, like a solid one, but I probably wouldn't. How's the weather for the match? It's decent. 15 degrees and a little bit cloudy. Not a lot of wind as a factor either in this contest. Stormers 9 is the prediction for Mo with the 80 of the All Blacks. You think Ma'anonu should have been selected for this New Zealand team? No. But I do love the fact that he's been selected for the Sharks though. We have their Segner first try. Says Nara Boy. Yeah, the late inclusion into this contest, getting to play from the 7 jersey. This will be his first start in an All Blacks kit as he has made his way off the bench in the other matches. Thick beard like a Viking by December. I think more than likely it will look like this, just slightly longer. I don't think it will grow much more than that. Anton Leonard-Brown to surprise a lot of the haters. Well, I think he's actually had a solid year so far, Anton Leonard-Brown. There are many people, I believe, who, for their Anton Leonard-Brown, opinion, it is based off what has happened last year or the year prior. Whereas for Leonard-Brown, throughout the Japan season, he was actually very solid for a side. I'm going to try and hide that weird bit of hair that's sticking out the back. There we go. Or else it was going to annoy me. It's like I had an antenna trying to get a little bit of Wi-Fi coverage. Rico first try, says Patrick, and it's a pleasant day in Cape Town. Not too windy or cold, says Young Rich. But yeah, Leonard-Brown, even off the bench in the last couple matches, he's had a bit of an impact. Timothy versus Nonu, will be a fun matchup. I hadn't even thought about the fact that it could be Timothy Nawai in that one. Do you think they'll go full strength against the Sharks, though, just to give those guys a bit of a run around, or do you think they'll leave that maybe for the Bulls? I think actually Bulls will be the game that they go full strength, right? My appointment is in 45 minutes, but I came to the doctor 3 hours early for the rugby. The air conditioner, it's 100 degrees today, says Mo. And also, it's actually happening, guys. Yeah, this greatest rivalry tour just about to start up. We have got 8 minutes until the kickoff of this contest. This is what the upcoming games look like. The Sharks will be the next test for New Zealand. The Sharks have already announced their team, by the way, or at least their squad has been announced. Greatest rivalry then continues on with the Bulls and the Lions. But before that Lions test match, we get to see the Box in action against the ABs. That one will be taking place in just the 2 weeks' time from their 3 test matches back to back to back, including the last one, which will be taking place from the USA. But it is a hectic little while, 37 days until the end of this greatest rivalry tour, which is a bit of a shame. It's actually now only 36 days too, depending on your time zone, but it's going to go very quickly. So what I will say is, because this is the first time we've had a greatest rivalry tour and a tour in general for these two sides in a very long time, make sure you all make the most of it. Enjoy it while it is here. This is the last big thing, I would say, up until the Nations Championship finals. And then also then from there, it's the World Cup final. Or not the World Cup final, sorry, the World Cup in general. So this is about really enjoying rugby. I know that some people will get a bit feral in terms of supporting their sides, sometimes a bit too much, as we know. Like, there are some who are the outliers, but I know a lot of people excited about the prospect of these two great sides going head-to-head, the rivalry, sorry, just joking, the respect between the two sides too. I just turned bright red. I am like a chameleon, but these two sides running out onto the field, it's a big one. I have a blessed marriage. Oh, I'm getting married next month. I was so confused for a second. I was wondering whether I was supposed to be getting married. I heard that Baltimore Test sold out quickly. Yeah, and they would have had those ticket prices pretty high too. How must I enjoy it to the fullest? Must I drink even more? Maybe drink straight from the bottle. Says Xander, crowd size not quite sold out for this game, unfortunately. Does Duplessis Karefi, where are you? He is actually back in New Zealand playing 12 this weekend. He's going to be playing tomorrow from that inside centre role. What happens if the All Blacks lose tonight? Then they definitely need to improve heading into their next games. Like, that's the thing. The Stormers side is decent on paper. It's just that I think this will be too much of a step up for them in terms of the lack of game time that they've had as of late. But yeah, it would certainly throw a bit of a curveball in the early stages. I know that there are a lot of South Africans who are hoping that the All Blacks hiccup here, but I also do know a lot of South Africans who want the All Blacks to be undefeated throughout these URC contests so that when the Box beat them, or if they do, in those test matches, it becomes that much more impressive, seeing as it would be what would be, you could say New Zealand's best side. And that's the exciting prospect of this tour, the fact that we're going to see different lineups along the way, but it all comes down to those 4 tests and the bragging rights heading into their Rugby World Cup. We have got their listing from the UK, says Daniel Cleary. And also, to brother Hamish, here we go, says Daniel there too. And will Nonu play for the Sharks against the All Blacks? It seems like he's going to, which is pretty impressive. This is the greatest rugby or greatest rivalry. As a pinnacle of international test rugby, says Dallas. That'll be a good learning experience for the Stormers and the All Blacks. Exactly right. We are going to get to see the likes of a youngster in Yahin Ahmed in that 10 jersey. Maybe, Rassi will be watching these games extremely closely. Could find himself in a Springbok kit in the relatively near future. We did see him in the under-20s, helping that side get themselves the World Championship status for the juniors. Currently the national anthem for New Zealand. It is being sung. I'm still interested to know if they're going to sing the South African national anthem for the Stormers, or whether it is only the New Zealand national anthem that we get to hear. But we see those bright pink boots for the All Blacks yet again. They did cause a few conversations throughout July. No winners, only survivors in this match. The tour will be the litmus test for Rennie's ABs, says Ruben. And yeah, the thing is, right, heading into this tour, before the July internationals had taken place, people, I don't think, were very optimistic about this New Zealand side. They felt like they were in a little bit of a weird limbo period. But the first 3 games under Dave Rennie, it just seems like there's a little bit of a revitalisation for this Kiwi team. That's a big word. I wouldn't be able to spell it. But it's definitely a different looking New Zealand side. And that bodes very well for the test matches, as we are going to get to see, I believe, an All Black side in form, a South African side in form, and just some very entertaining rugby. Evening, Hamish. Here we go. Enjoy, says the Massa. And also, what in the Cape Town Province anthem? Or what is the Cape Town Province anthem? I don't actually know if they have one. But the crowd cheering loud for this All Black side after the national anthem. Oh, yep, no, they are doing the South African national anthem as well, as they should, really. If only one side was doing it, it would be a little bit weird. No more looking lost. A lot more clarity. Yeah, and it just seems like a lot more of an attacking mindset too. Now, depending on the opposition, probably depends on whether or not they can play it in that same way. Dr. Darren Green. You don't often have a doctor singing the national anthem. What is he a doctor in, I wonder? Ruan Nell, the captain for the Stormers side. Give him a taste of Kiwi, says Johnny. Why the poor attendance? South Africa is rugby crazy. Sadly, they priced it pretty high for this matchup. And it's also on a Friday night rather than the weekend. So I can probably understand why there are a few empty seats along the way. Hamish says, hello, welcome in. And no more looking lost. And for the bigger picture, it will be better for New Zealand to win here. Imagine the provincial teams beat New Zealand. The Springboks get slaughtered and mauled. That would be very bad, says Xander. And also, how's the crowd, says Tyrone. It's full enough, but sadly not sold out for this matchup. But at the same time, I do also think that after seeing this first game, there might be more people who look to get tickets for the other matches that are just around the corner. This is a pretty exciting Stormers side. We're playing for everything, so excited to see how they handle this game. Yeah, I mean, for these guys, this is about, for a few of them, proving that they should be in Rassi's team. Because heading into this Greatest Rivalry Tour, you've got 4 test matches, a week apart, and we know Rassi. We know there's going to be rotation. So the likes of an Andre Hugafenta, if he has a big game here up against the All Blacks, perhaps Rassi chucks him in. If you look at a guy like a Nettling Foucher, trying to get some propping opportunities, Evan Rus, those type of players, even someone in the back line. You know, I don't want to go too crazy, but someone like a Yahin Ahmed, if we see an injury to Sasha, if we see an injury to Pollard, maybe you chuck the youngster in the equation. Now, as a Hamish Craig from St. Francis Bay, Eastern Cape, South Africa is back in. And also, Twickenham is way more expensive, yet they sell out all the time. Says hard enough, that is true. I think they sell out the English games, right? And then, did they sell out New Zealand, South Africa? They would have, right, when they played there before the World Cup, surely. But the All Blacks are just in a huddle at the moment. They are about to do the haka, and then we are underway. Rico leading the haka. says Rubenstein. A decent crowd in the end, says Matsu Tendai. And go the Stormers. But Rieko Ioane, the man who will be leading the haka here. You think the Stormers side is strong enough? I think they're strong, but I don't think they'll be strong enough. And that is purely based off what I've seen throughout the last 12 months. The Stormers, they did lose their game up against Leinster a couple months ago, but I think the biggest concern for me was their form heading into those finals matches. They just seem to be letting games slip, and the fact that they haven't got their talisman in Sasha and Damien Valimza, I think will hurt quite a bit in terms of how this side plays cohesion-wise. They haven't played in 2 months, but they are still a very good side on paper, and you cannot rule out any of these URC South African teams, because when they fire, they are definitely some of the most dangerous sides. Patrick Tuipulotu standing at the front of the haka with Beauden Barrett and Anton Leonard-Brown on either side of him. A lot of experience across those three men. Beauden getting the start, and he looks fired up for this haka here in South Africa, but the haka has finished, and we're ready to go. I'm excited. Yep, that's Billy Proctor. I was confused at who that was for a second there. I was looking at Rieko Ioane with the bright blonde here for this one. That was for Cameron Suafua, for anyone unfamiliar with why Rieko decided to dye his hair. Carl Dixon, the English referee, with Matthew Carley, Holly Davidson, and a TMO who I didn't quite see. But ready to go for this contest. The ball being delivered out there on the field. Do let me know your last minute predictions, ladies and gentlemen. The All Blacks will smash the wretched Stormers. I will try and injure the All Blacks. Says Sonny Liston and Dion Ferry, Gelant and Rus, big key figures to watch in the Stormers today. And Rieko leading the haka. I think he's led it before, right? It was one of the games last year or the year prior. I think Rieko was in charge of leading it. We've seen a few different haka leaders throughout the time. Simon Parker's a big boy. We're going to get to see him go head-to-head with the likes of a Hakshiva Diamani, who's a very handy man with ball in hand. Dion Ferry, his breakdown work going head-to-head with Anton Segner. And then Lakai versus Rus. Two men trying to get themselves some starting minutes for their international sides. Lakai currently getting the nod, but will he get that nod when we see Adi Savia return? But the youngster Ahmed to get us underway in this contest. Is this a full strength of All Blacks 23? Nowhere near it. But it is still a very strong 23 that they've put together. It is not what we'll see in the test matches, but it is something that we'll see multiple times throughout this tour as well. But we are ready to go. 3, 2, 1. And we are underway. Ahmed kicks it off. The greatest rivalry tour for the first time in a very long time. These two sides will be playing each other. Cortez Ratama just outside of the 22. Backline movement already for New Zealand. Josh Morby firing the wide cutout pass to Rieko Ioane. He has recent experience against the Stormers side, and a nice cutting run on the inside off the Taukiaho. Quick pace already starting in this game for New Zealand. Ratama looking to the short side. Rush defense from Siabelo Sinatla. And when you talk about pace, he certainly has plenty of it. Ratama up to Holland, pops it to Beauden Barrett. Now Lakai breaks the line, gets through there. Big gap opening up for the number 8. Just couldn't quite link up with Billy Proctor on his outside, but kicks it in behind. Now Beauden Barrett looking for the grubber into the Stormers 22. Awkward bouncing ball for Lelion Zas, who just submits to Leroy Carter and takes it to ground. They're inside of the 22 though for the Stormers, so they will be able to get an eat set going after a couple of phases. Offload back now to Ahmad Khan, who is smashed by Taukiaho. Tell you what, so far throughout the first 2 minutes of the game, we've seen physicality and we've seen speed. I think that's going to be the case all throughout this 80 minutes. All Blacks by 40, says Jacques. Now rolling this one back. Why was Geordie not selected when he doesn't like him? Well, he's given him a rest. He played him all throughout July. This one's going to be cleared downfield from Ahmad Khan, and they have survived the first onslaught from the All Blacks, but they take it quickly on the halfway line. Beauden Barrett looking for the cross quick. Ioane running forward. It's got into his hands after Sinatla messed it up. Great hands from Peter Lakai on the left-hand side, tackled by the Stormers captain Nell. Now Ratama back across to the left again to Segner, the late inclusion for the All Blacks in this lineup. Ratama moves it on to Barrett once again. He almost ended up knocking it on, but pops it back to Basilio Tossi. Now back across to the left. Leonard Brown skip pass out to Ioane. Tries to break through Sinatla, and he's driven into touch by the Stormers defense. Great start, says Johnny. Yeah, I mean, if those 2 minutes are anything to go by, this is going to be a great tour. I think Stormers 9 unavailable for this game, says Simon Barnes. So that would be Ahmad Khan, wouldn't it? I thought I saw him before, if I'm not wrong, but I certainly could be. But Beauden Barrett going for the cross kick early. That actually could have been really bad for New Zealand, by the way. If Ciabello Sinatla had taken that ball and offloaded it to Warakalant, Stormers probably would have got a breakaway try. They have to be very careful. We've already seen Beauden Barrett kick the ball twice. One with a grubber, one with the cross kick. But a line-out throw for Andre Hugo Venter, almost stolen by Holland, who lands hard. Now wait to the left-hand side. Ball in the hands of Roach. It was smashed by Lakai and Segner, working as the dynamic duo. Ahmad Khan, though, now rolling this ball back. And goes into the pocket. To the hands of Warakalant, who will look for distance down the field. And an absolutely brilliant kick from Warakalant to clear the lines of the Stormers and put the All Blacks back into their own half. AB's using the same midfield. Exploitation Wales did. Oh, quick throw taken by New Zealand. Leroy Carter looking to pop it on the inside. Offload back to Samisoni Taukiao. But just like that, the All Blacks have made a whole heap of meters. And Amar Khan's injured on the far side of the field. This does not look good for the young nine. Anton Segner moves it to 10 metres out, trying to get the turnover, giving away the penalty. There was Andre Hugofenta. We have got there Steady Gaming, or Steady Banging and Steady Delayed Hamish. I probably am by about 30 seconds. That's just Sky Sport now here in New Zealand. I was a bit flabbergasted that you haven't streamed since 2 weeks. So it was the reason there weren't many games. And also the fact that I knew that this tour was coming up. I was quite busy on the weekends too. So it just, this doesn't look good for Amar Khan. Unfortunately, it looks like his right knee. And classics here, Simon Barnes and Bodie keen to play, I should say. See, danger, says Cynthia. Man, I remember a few of these Stormers guys from Super Rugby. Says Johnny Blaze. Yeah, there's a few of them who have been around for a long time. Some extreme veterans in the mix. Dion Foree still playing somehow for the Stormers. That man has almost had to retire about 3 or 4 times. We have got there, just woke up. What's happened? It's been quick. In terms of the tempo, oh, that looks bad for Amar Khan. It wasn't actually any sort of contact. He was just jogging back, and the leg has given out. It looks like the knee. So it seems like Duvanacha will now have to make his way onto the field, even though we're only 3.5 minutes through this game. But yeah, the All Blacks have already tried a grubber. They've tried a cross kick. They've taken 2 quick taps. Okay, it's going to be a 6-man line out. We have got there, so you were just chilling and relishing life in those 2 weeks break? Not really. It was quite busy with work, but managed to hang out with a couple of the other Kiwi lads during that time. But yeah, we haven't taken 2 weeks off ever on the channel, I don't think. So it was a nice change. We have got there, so sad, huge day for him, says Simon Barnes. 3 minutes in and they are already faking injuries. This one's certainly not fake for Amar Khan. Hopefully speedy recovery for that man. It seemed like the way that he went down, it could honestly be a 6 to 9 month injury. But now rolling more here for New Zealand, shaping up with Samisoni Taukiaho with the ball at the back of it. Seems like the Stormers defending it nicely for now, and it looks like it's actually been nicely stopped, although actually illegally, says Carl Dixon. So the penalty awarded to New Zealand again. And Rio Gamer is here. That's a throwback. I still remember back when you were talking about buying a car, Rio Gamer, back in about 2021. So I hope the car's still running. And I hope you are doing very well. He was targeted. He wasn't. He literally was running next to the breakdown. No one touched him, and unfortunately the knee just buckled. Can't deal with the brutality. Go back to under 20s. Says Sports Unfiltered. He hasn't been in the under 20s for a little while. They've been having more Hassim Pede in recent times, as well as, who was their starting 9 for the under 20s? Someone else who was alongside Ahmed, who was doing nicely. Nicely taken again at the front of the line out for New Zealand with Simon Parker. Still 5 metres from the try line, but this one is marching forward, and the Stormers again trying to stop it. Taukiao waiting at the back. Someone's boots come off. You know it's a Stormer because it's not bright pink and they're over the line. New Zealand for the first try of the Greatest Rivalry Tour. It is Samisoni Taukiaho who has managed to cross the line. But like they've said, that is a very strong start for New Zealand. Under 20s is rub, mate, but some big lads running around. Yeah, you look at someone like a Klakani. When he was in the under 20s, he was an absolute, well, he still is an absolute unit, but compared to some of the guys he was playing, like a Stanley Solomon for comparison, there was like 50 kgs difference, it felt like at times. Hello, I'm on work vehicle now, got the perks to use it personally with the company gas card, no need for the car. Says Rio Gamer. Oh, that's a big bonus. Step it up in the chain. Yeah, I hope you're doing well. How's our Kiwi lad George doing, H? He's doing well. He recently discovered some chicken wings. from a local place back down home. So when I go there tomorrow, he wants to book in to get chicken wings. That one from Bowden Barrett has gone over, and that is going to make the score now 7-0 in favour of New Zealand. We have got there, Hamish is a bit demented. It's already August. Says from there, haven't heard about George in a while. That's because we haven't streamed for a while. As you said, we took 2 weeks off. Bowden Barrett highlights are so... No, see, the reason that he got the highlights and whatnot were actually for his teammate who had cancer. So, like, at the end of the day, I think no matter what it looked like, it's for a great cause. Same with some of these guys like Anton Segner. He's got the buzz cut still for this Cameron Saw 4. Now, nice run there. Cortez Ratama makes it up to the halfway line, showing some good pace. Moves up to 40 now out from the Stormers line. Holland plays halfback. Bowden Barrett dodging through the Stormers. Goes for the chip in behind or the grubber. Grubbers it again. Bowden Barrett. He can't quite get back there. Ball's still in the in-goal area. Morby tries to force it down, but I believe it was dead. So they'll go back. Although it seems like the TMO want to have a little check of this. And up the All Blacks. Says steady banging, and also we have got them all try so much for fast running rugby, says WLK. Well, throughout the other first 5 minutes of this matchup, if you've been watching the game, you would know that that is exactly what we've seen. Just because they took advantage of the Stormers' ill discipline, you can't hold that against the side. They almost just scored off a runaway from pretty much halfway. And we have got the target at censoring these messages. And also a good thing I put $1,000 on the All Blacks to win, says Luke there. And we have got there any team with names like Khan and Ahmed. It's going to be a very tough time against the All Blacks, says Dub. They're just seeing the replay here to see if Bowden Barrett did knock that ball on. I believe there might have been 5 metres out from the line. Andrew Jackson just reviewing this one currently. And then trying to force it down was Ahmed. It's Bowden. Yeah, he gets a hand to that, so that will be the knock on there. Are we over there? I know it's been a while, but did you watch FIFA World Cup with George? No. So I ended up not watching it live. No try was clear. Said Sports Unfiltered, which is why they've given the scrum to the Stormers. The All Blacks just remaining on the 1 try for now. TMO just giving Stormers a breather. And show me the money. Thank you, Samasoni Talkiaho. Says Dallas. And Stormers will need to up their game. Well, I think they'll be... Don't get me wrong. They would have known that the All Blacks were going to start fast in this contest. But the All Blacks, I believe, have even started quicker than people were anticipating. Seems like they've just decided to go out there and try and run the side off their feet. This is also a great chance for the All Blacks to test their fitness, but a huge 4-pack here for the Kiwis, 947 kgs. It is not too often you would see that size 4-pack for the Kiwis. They're packing them big for this first match against the Stormers. Now, Duvanacha, he is out there on the field 8 minutes into this contest due to the injury that we saw of Ahmad Khan and the penalty awarded to the Stormers there. It's clear you're only committed to rugby and cricket. Says from there, yeah, normally, well, that's the thing. That World Cup final was on after we had done an all-nighter covering about, 12 or 13 hours of, sport. So it seemed like a good idea to sleep. That one's going to be put into touch by the youngster Ahmed. This will be the first chance for the Stormers to work their way towards the halfway line. And fatigue makes cowards of us all. Says Sports Unfiltered. But they ran it up to get it to the first place to do the rolling ball try. Yeah, exactly right. It wasn't like they just continued to use their forwards. There were backs, there were grubbers, there were chip kicks, there were all sorts. Hi, greetings from South Africa. Welcome in, Santino, I should say. Now rolling maul here, and an advantage goes the way of the Stormers. A few infringements in a row from New Zealand, and slowly allowing the Stormers to make their way up the field. Are we over there? If the All Whites had a good team, you would have watched it. Oh, if the All Whites were in the final, probably, but they were far from the final. They didn't even make the 32. We have got their crowds having a great time. Wish I was a schoolboy in this era. Says Simon Barnes. And now Khan already off the field, but they have still got Ahmed from that 10 jersey. This time it was Simon Park who was penalised for dragging that maul down. But 9 minutes through this contest, a quick start. Samasoni Tolkiaho, the lone try scorer just at this point in time. Now Andre Huafenta. About 40 metres out from the line, and again, the Stormers will look to build towards either a penalty advantage or a line break. New Zealand trying to defend it. That looked like maybe Tossi came in through the side. It's going to be fine for now. And as he dragged it down, no, the ball is still there, and another penalty advantage for the Stormers. Big run from Dion Fourie. Moves into the 22 for the Stormers side. Duvanacha goes back across there. Diamani cutting back inwards. Now Duvanacha again goes across. Ahmed misses the pass. It's loose. It's kicked forward by Morby, but they'll return for another penalty. That is 3 in a row now. However, there, haven't you listened to the weekend? Like, not consistency. I've heard some of his songs, though. I mean, the Americans messed up the Football World Cup anyway, says Hori, but another penalty going the way of the Stormers. But what a run from Dion Fourie, being able to break through and show off exactly how dangerous that man can be with ball in hand. I think it's sometimes forgotten because normally he's known for his breakdown work, but breaking through the All Blacks there. But now, this is where the All Blacks' discipline is going to be tested. They have given away 3 penalties in quick succession. There'll be a few conversations with Carl Dixon now about these repeat infringements, and the Stormers, just like that, have made their way up to 15 metres out from the All Blacks line. Matongo going over to give the call to Andre Hugafenta. And soon a yellow card. Yeah, they'll have to be careful. They'll be on the final warning soon, New Zealand, if they do keep on infringing. Now thrown in, nicely taken. Oh, and Fabian Holland, another advantage. This time for closing the gap. Evan Russ now charging forward. Tackled by Holland as well as Rico Ioane. But that's now 4 advantages in a row. Now the Stormers going away to the left-hand side. Evan Russ breaks through one, tackled by Bauer, but some pace being shown by the Stormers in terms of the tempo of this contest. Well, Nedeline Fouchier, another penalty advantage against New Zealand. Matongo, tackled by Holland, but jumping straight back up. And getting this one moving for the Stormers on the outside. Roach trying to cut through. Great spot tackle made by Anton Leonard-Brown. Larkai on the ball. He's allowed to go for it. I don't think he fully committed to it as he was worried he's going to get himself penalised. Duvanacha again looking away to the right. Now Ahmed looking for the cross kick. The youngster, we saw it time and time again in the under-20s. Ioane going up for the ball. In fact, it was Bowden Barrett who didn't quite take it. Ciabello Sanatla ends up with ball in hand. And it seems like that could be the try for the Stormers. Or is it? No, they're going back. They've said that there was something that happened, maybe a knock on. We have got there that Ioane is useless. Why is he called back, can't tackle and can't stay inside the touchline? Useless and can't catch a high ball. Yeah, although that one was Bowden Barrett, who wasn't able to take that one cleanly, but they will go back to the initial line of the advantage. So it was no try. Dion Fourie getting a little bit of ice on the shoulder. And come on the ABs. Said Josiah there. And I also hope Joaquin has a good game. He was going for that big cross kick. Oh, actually, they're going to go upstairs and check this one. It was initially called as a Ciabello Sanatla knock on. But they're going to have a check of it. Oh, no. They're saying foul play, Leonard-Brown tackle on Jonathan Roach is the one that they do want to check here. This is 12 minutes into the contest. The All Blacks were looking at getting a yellow card with the amount of penalties that they have been given away, but this one might be a yellow card anyway for Anton Leonard-Brown. Seeing the replay. Oh, it does ride up a little bit. The Leonard-Brown tackle. It looked like from the first initial... Oh, okay. So it's... Both men are slightly dipped, but you can once again make the argument that it could have been lower Leonard-Brown, so they may look at yellow here, which isn't going to help the Anton Leonard-Brown haters. Well, actually, it's going to help them a lot because they'll try and say that he shouldn't be there, but... Okay, Justin Marshall saying he thinks it's second impact. It's fine, says Simon Barnes. Okay, that sounded like they said it meets the yellow card threshold. They do have head contact too. 12 is upright. They have head contact, yellow card threshold for Anton Leonard-Brown there. Honestly, this type of head contact should be penalty play on. says Matsu Tendai, and BS says Ruben there, and BS says harden up. 10 minutes in the bin now for New Zealand, and that may not be the only man who goes to the bin in the near future. Kiwis, dirty Kiwis, says David Dempster. I think anyone who's watched rugby, though, would say that was just an unfortunate collision for Leonard Brown. I don't think there was anything cynical in it, but it is still going to be the yellow card. Be off the field for the 10 minutes. Cheeky AB's player asking for the Stormers to go off of a concussion. I see the tricks they are going to use in the bot game, says LB. And no rule sucks, says Matthew. The Leonard Brown special, says Peanut Slab. And also red card, 4 week suspension. Let's go. Nowhere near it. I think they won't even upgrade it to a red there for Leonard Brown. But Andre Hugo Fent about 5 metres out from the line. And this is a big chance. Definitely with the amount of infringements that we have seen. It's just contact, simple penalty. Says Matthew there. They've gone backwards once, says Carl Dixon. Now told to use it. Although now starting to march forward quite nicely here. Seven's told to get out of there. Cygnus done well to be able to exit. Same with Tui Pilotu. Still rolling more this time for the Stormers. Does he? Yes, he does. Get it down there. Andre Hugo Fenta manages to score the try for the Stormers to bring them back into the game. Don't say the official's going to be like this all the way through, says harden up. And we have got there, that seems a bit harsh, says sighted there. And we have got there coming the Stormers. This is our backyard, says Optims. But it is Andre Hugo Fenta. It's a good day to be a hooker in a game of rugby, I should add. But about 9 minutes remaining of the Anton Leonard Brown yellow card. The All Blacks just very ill-disciplined throughout the last 3 or 4 minutes, giving away 5 penalty advantages, few of which did lead to being the penalties too. But then Andre Hugo Fenta just gets that one down over the top of Tui Pilotu. But now the youngster Ahmed looking up at the posts. And straight down the middle from the youngster, making it now 7 points to 7 between these two sides. How did the Kiwis score so fast? They just went out there flying from the get-go, and then Simasoni Tolkiaho scoring off the rolling maul. So both sides have scored off the rolling maul at this stage. We have got their All Blacks are back. Says Peanut Slab and Super Rugby referees allow a lot of poor discipline, and the All Blacks will need to adjust to proper officiating. Oh no. They're checking a truck and trailer here, ladies and gentlemen, to try and cancel out Andre Hugo Fenta's try. If this is what we're going to have, a lot of TMO checks throughout these matches, people are going to go off this tour pretty quickly. A good day to be in a game of rugby, I should add. Says word there. We have there we go, trying to even up the numbers. What a joke, says LB. So I think they're saying there that it's Nettling for Sheer, who would find himself in an offside position. And maybe they should transform to touch rugby to keep TMO happy, says Xander. Okay, they're just asking whether or not there is a new maul in there. That one's for me. This is a tricky one to be able to rule. So they're trying to check whether or not a secondary maul started. I don't know if there was separation there. I'm just trying to find the ball. Anton Signe ended up the wrong way around. He's already got a bit of a cut there. I think that's all right, isn't it? Or am I getting the truck and trailer one slightly mixed up? No separation, says Simon Barnes. And Timo always trying to be man of the match. And this BS, says Luke. And no, that's a try, says Nada Boy. Yeah, that looks all right to me. Unless, of course, they're saying maybe that Nettling for Share is too far forward. But I think he was still connected to that maul. So I don't think this is going to be ruled out. I think this should stay as a try. Oh, okay. It's going to be no try, but it is going to be a yellow card for Simon Parker for repeat infringements. So 6 All Blacks is on the wrong side in an illegal position. So he will go to the bin. The All Blacks will be down to 13, and the Stormers are still trying to get that first try. So Simon Parker now going to be the man. Okay, he was trying to find out from the referee what he actually did, and the referee just ignored him. And that was unexpected, says Mike. And finally the ref saw what I saw. At least he's honest. says LB, and thanks for streaming this. You're doing the Lord's work, says word, and we are going to be here all throughout the Greatest Rivalry Tour. The ref is already ruining the game, says Simon. As a worse than to try taking away, says Matsu Tendai. Yeah, you could argue that the All Blacks being down to 13 is worse than just conceding the 7. I feel bad for Ahmed, though, because he got that kick over. Now he's going to have to try and get his next one. Ruan now just having a conversation with the referee. Okay, I think that Ruan now was just trying to ask whether or not a penalty try was on the cards there. And referee said no. A fixed match, says Thug Angel. And now kicking it for the corner. Ahmed, again, 5 metres out. I think that we all know what's coming here. Again, the rolling ball. Andre Hugo Fenta hasn't been defended well by either side in this matchup. Almost feels, if you are a Kiwi fan, this is worse than just the try, says Mike. And we have got there 7-0. Yeah, currently 7-0, although the Stormers looking to now make it 7-7. Taken at the front by Connor Evans. Now the rolling ball. It's going short side. Surely they get over this time. It's in the hands of Fenta, and he scores the... No, it's not Fenta. It is actually Dion Foree who pops up with the try. And the Stormers, they do get over. What about a penalty try for repeated infringement? No. Referee Carl Dixon pretty much explained to Ruan now the reasoning behind why it wouldn't end up being that. He said you've already had the 2 yellow cards, so like it's still just play on for now. It's not cheating the All Blacks, says WLK. Surprised you didn't go to the South Africa for the tour. The budget for the channel definitely does not extend that far. But, yeah, we are going to be covering it all on the channel. Some BS says scheme there. And Justice Vale says Simon Barnes. And also, you think Murra is a natural captain? I think that he's a player that gets way more stick than he should. And I'm glad he's going to Japan to earn big money. But now Ahmed again just taps it down the middle. The reason I say again was the last try was disallowed. But now 7-all in this contest after the first 16 minutes. All Blacks poor discipline, very poor discipline from this All Black side. And the yellow card for Anton Leonard-Brown will remain a yellow card. Ladies and gentlemen, pinpoint perfect kick. And he does it time and time again for the under-20s. Ahmed, and he does just seem to have that composure. Maybe one match there's Leonard. And 4 penalties and 2 yellows. Says scheme. Well, looks like this third ref will help slow the game down. Discipline, says Mike. Now kick downfield, Bowden Barrett. It will be interesting to see if New Zealand do go for the same tactics as they had in the early stages of the match, or whether or not they do look to slow the game down for just the next kind of 10 minutes or so, but while they wait for their players to return. I don't want to leave too many gaps in that defence. Now Duvanacha. He will put this one up high. Leroy Carter coming a long way to the side to be able to try and take that one, but he has knocked it on in the process. Ball in the hands of the Stormers yet again. Duvanacha going across to Leleon Zas. Tackled by Cortez Ratima. Ball stolen by Proctor, but they'll go back for the knock-on. Leonard Brown will remain a terrible player. We have got the Chiefs players, says Zackerman there. Or Zach, I should say, sorry. And also, All Blacks bet French B team by 2 points at home, and suddenly they are best in the world, says JL Simon the Ball. Yeah, to be fair, though, that French developmental side was pretty solid out there on the park. But yeah, I think it depends on who you talk to. A lot of people do know that this is not going to be an easy task, this Greatest Rivalry Tour, but you're always on both sides. You know, I've heard, because of the fact that we are a channel involving rugby, I've heard some wild predictions throughout the last little while. But currently scrum here for the Stormers with Duvanacha to feed the ball in. Razor in, says Peanut Slab. Stormers embarrassing the All Blacks. I wouldn't say embarrassing them yet. I think wait for the full-time whistle for anything like that. What's the score? 7-all. Says Spencer Wilson. But yeah, the All Blacks discipline. I think that they're embarrassing themselves with how often they're giving away penalties at the moment. Ruan now going on the outside into the hands of Watakalan. Pops it on. Nicely taken by Jonathan Roach. Now across to Ciabello Sinatla cutting in, but tackled by Billy Proctor. Duvanacha goes with the low bounce pass to Connor Evans, who's taken it very nicely. Holland trying to get the steal on the breakdown, couldn't quite get it. Rush defence by Billy Proctor. Another penalty, though, by the sounds of it, was going to be the try, or at least a chance for a try for Ioane, but the referee will chalk it off. And they'll go back now for, I believe it will be offside against Billy Proctor. No, in fact, they're going right across the other side of the field for the initial scrum advantage. We have got there only 35 test caps on the Stormers side, doing well, says WLK. Yeah, the side are holding themselves to a high standard currently, bringing the physicality throughout this contest. And oh, okay, so it wasn't Carl Dixon. It was the assistant referee who ruled that one as the scrum penalty against Basilio Tossi after the scrum. We have there, Hamish tuned in from my hotel in Portugal. It says far north, so hopefully you are enjoying the rugby thus far. Currently 19 minutes through. How bad would it be for the All Blacks if they don't win a single game? I mean, it wouldn't be ideal for Dave Rennie in his first little while. I think they'll take at least one, right? I don't know who to tell or who to yell at for the All Blacks for misbehaving. My dog's behaving. Misbehaving. I'll yell at the All Blacks. Now line out here. This one's going to be inside of the All Blacks half again with Andre Hugafenta. Dave should get sacked, says Zach. I mean, to be fair, he hasn't lost this game yet. In fact, he hasn't lost a game for the All Blacks as of yet. Early engagement in the line-out. That one's going to hurt New Zealand too. Another penalty advantage going against the All Blacks. So we're trying to give away every single penalty in the law book. We've still got plenty to go. A rolling ball here. Duvanacha hanging on to it nicely for the Stormers. This one's still mauling, and they will go back for another penalty. Bit of push and shove between Lakai and Rus. You can see the frustration starting to creep in for New Zealand here. And we have you there, it's the ref in the TMO show, says Daniel Cleary. And Dossie pinged twice. As South African fan, my favourite player of all time is John Olomu. Much respect to the All Blacks and their fans. Justin Marshall has just said, New Zealand need to stop giving away penalties. That is correct. They've given away about 7 at this stage. The constant TMO involvement is spoiling our great game, says Andrew. And also watching from the Netherlands, says Kevin there too. And now Anton Leonard-Brown, he will still be off the field for another probably 3 or 4 minutes. And then for Simon Parker, an additional minute after that, thrown in by Andre Hugafenta. Fabian Holland gets up and steals the ball for New Zealand. Segner almost rolling the wrong way. The ball is still there for the Kiwis, and Ratama off to Basilio Tossi. Bit of a counter ruck coming from the Stormers as well, but the All Blacks protecting the ball. Looking to kick it downfield. Is that the score? I thought the All Blacks would run us off our feet, says Malanga. It is currently 7 points each. 2 yellow cards for the All Blacks at this stage, but the Stormers are playing well and physical throughout this contest, deciding against the throw there for Lilian Zas. And we have got there, do you like or don't you like pump lemon, Amish? Not really. I prefer just plain water. I feel like if you're going to have something with like 30 grams of sugar, you should just have like an ice cream or something rather than a flavoured water. Kind of, to me, that's the better option. Stormers punching hard. Says scheme there. Andre Hugafenta. Another line out. And nicely taken at the front by Connor Evans. And again, that rolling maul. It is rinse and repeat for the home side in Cape Town currently as it starts to march again. It's a really solid set maul now. Duvanacha goes across to Ahmed, who will go for the up and under. Different tactic. Bowden Barrett trying to run on to take that ball. Knocks it backwards. Knock on that time from Roach. Picked up by Proctor, who will go with a big boot downfield advantage over and down towards the halfway line. I definitely expected. Says Scheme there. Woke up early for this one. And also, I was in a packed noisy pub for the start. I have come home to the Kiwi Lads commentary instead. And penalty to the Stormers, says Peanut Slab. And there as well. Yeah, they've had a fair few of them throughout this contest so far. Leonard Brown back out there on the field now. New Zealand back to 14. They have a couple more minutes. Then they will back to the full 15 out there. Now ready to throw this one in. Taken at the front by Connor Evans. Now around the halfway line. Ahmed again is going to go for the up and under. Bowden Barrett struggling to line it up. It's not back by Lilian Zas. And still on the side of the Stormers team. Duanacha moving away to the right-hand side off to Niling Fushier Lakai. And some big shots early on. Now, Warakalan thought about the Waikato pass. Great tackle by Proctor, but still managing to fire off the offload. Tackle close to the wing. Morby and Ioane joining up. Duvanaka back across to Matongo now. Tackled by the 2 All Blacks locks. Currently 24 minutes through this contest. Knock on from Warakalant. Picked up by Leonard Brown. Inside of the 22 outpaces Ruiz. Slammed down. Leroy Carter gets up. Oh, Leonard Brown very slow back to his feet here. We'll keep an eye on him in just the near future. Bowden Barrett selling a couple dummies. Couldn't quite find his next passing option. Goes to Leonard Brown. So he is now going to test out to see how injured he really is. Now short side, Peter Larkai pick and go. Driven backwards by Diamani with some great physical contact early. Cortez Ratama back across to Bauer. They're still inside of the 22 here. New Zealand are not really going forward. Yes, not much damage with 13. And we need Roygard Savia, Geordie Barrett, Vai, McKenzie, Jordan de Groot, Taylor Lomax, says Josiah. Now Bowden Barrett firing out the wide cut-out pass to Rico Ioane. It's ruled as flat. Ioane can't quite sneak through Ruan now. New Zealand, though, it seems like they're willing to run this one out. Just a little bit of a risk, although now it seems like it's getting settled so that they can then go for the kick downfield with Cortez Ratama. And we have got there, no wonder the Bulls South African best club team. Playing attacking rugby, Stormers can only maul and kick. Says Ian, great clearance downfield from New Zealand, but the Stormers decide that taking it quickly is the option. Ahmed has about 3 men on his left-hand side, but decides against going for any of them. It's a bit of a high tackle from Larkai, was on the shoulder. Diamani breaks the line, knocks it on, and the tackle from Leonard Brown picked up by Morby. They went for that attack. They'll go back now for the scrum. I believe this is the first scrum feed for New Zealand in this contest. 25 minutes in. Another injury on the far side for Lelion Zasu staying down on a knee for now. We have got the team that Rennie picked just don't know how to play running rugby. So to be fair though, they did play good running rugby for the first 5 minutes. And then after that, they just started giving away penalties. We have you there waiting for Dave Rennie. What would you like for dinner? Your best penalties, please, says Kevin. And we have got there the All Blacks did well considering the pressure and getting all their players back. And South African referees and officials have long history for cheating. Fact check it. Says else, well, these referees are from England. As a whole, I think there's 3 English referees. And Morby can't. Not enough balls, says Scheme. And All Blacks struggling against the Stormers, says Game on roids. At the moment, they're struggling a little bit. That discipline has certainly been hurting the Kiwis in just the most recent kind of, I'd say, 20 minutes or so. And 2 men in the bin was not the ideal start. All Blacks didn't expect this up front. Not this B team. Says Gavin there. And low score so far, says Ruth. And penalty for the Stormers. Says Peanut Slab. And they don't go the All Blacks, says Adrian. The next match for the All Blacks has taken place in only around 4 days' time. That is up against the Sharks. New Zealand are embarrassing themselves here. Hamish says, Stephen, their discipline has been poor. I think we've still seen enough on attack from this All Black side that shows that if they are able to avoid giving away penalties, they can score tries. But we've only seen the 2 forward tries in this contest. We haven't seen any backs lighting it up. Going over that try line yet. And OMG Stormers, Yolikading says games on roids. And streaming platforms on this side of the wheel suck, says Jeff. And also All Blacks must stop giving away penalties here. Their key to success here is to just lower that penalty count. It's not about injuries to slow down, get third ref to do replays. Says Mike, in early games, Stormers are my team, but I do expect New Zealand to step it up in the second half. And also, sad, we still have All Blacks fans in South Africa, to be honest. Says Simon. We're now ready to put the ball in for Cortez Ratama. Penalty this time at scrum time goes the way of New Zealand. We've got to remember as well, the weight advantage is heavily in favour of the Kiwis. But the rolling maul, so far we have seen both sides using it to great success. Bowden Barrett looking to kick this one downfield into touch and does just that. New Zealand with the line out about 35 metres out from the Stormers line. This will be the first chance for the All Blacks on attack inside of the Stormers half for a good probably 15 minutes or so. Now Ratama going away to the left-hand side. Here comes Leroy Carter moving up to 25 out. Ratama again moving it left to the captain, Patrick Tuipulotu. Just to recycle it back to Segner. Now has Larkai on his flank. Decides against the pass. Ratama back across to the right. Now Bowden Barrett running it sideways at the moment, but now the space starts to open up. Leonard Brown with a flat pass out to Leroy Carter, who cuts back in and tackled by Diamani. New Zealand now 10 metres from the try line. Basilio Tossi misread there from Andre Hugo Fenta. Costa's side 5 metres. Now Ratama back across to Tolkiao. Bonin Barrett fires it in behind Morby. There is space for days here, but Proctor has dropped the ball. And New Zealand have been unable to get themselves the try. There were so many options on the left-hand side. It's whether or not it was the Morby pass or the Proctor hands that let them down more. But either way, it's still 7-7. We're going to see it now. Morby. Nah, that's a catch that Proctor has to make as a professional rugby player. Bloody Proctor, says Matthew there. No, brother, says Jeff. And Proctor's NPC level. Says Peanut Slab. Kiwi Channel with 50-50 support for the Storm as well, says Longku. Yeah, it's quite impressive the way that the channel is built with so many different nations and countries represented. We've got just as many South Africans. In fact, we've got more South Africans than we have New Zealand. Want to knock on, says Intellectua. And no, sorry, when referring to South Africa, you become an honorary South African, says Dallas. The Stormers were horrible this season. I mean, they made it to the semi-final, though. They did quite nicely at times. I know that during the end of their campaign, when they lost to Cardiff and they drew with Ulster, they just didn't seem like they were on the same page. But currently, I would say that this is using or working quite nicely as a unit here for the Stormers. It's talked about a lot how Sasha and Damien Williams were going to be missing from this contest. But as a whole, do they need them? Yes. Yes is the answer. Those two players do change the game for the Stormers, of course. Hoping New Zealand get back into it. And also, New Zealand can't try this with South Africa. Says Mohadeen. And Proctor ain't that guy at test level. And 5 million people to 60 million people. I think it's a bit inevitable, to be honest. Plus, we lack good South African streamers since old mate passed away. That'll be Gareth Mason. I can't believe it's been so long since he passed away. It was back before the last Rugby World Cup, actually, wasn't it? All Blacks playing boring. I assume that's boring. Rugby, says Stephen. So which part of it would you say is boring? Because they've had a lot of running meters. There's been a few kicks in behind and whatnot. They've been mixing it up with the forwards and the backs. They haven't been successful with it. They've only scored the one try. But what would you consider as boring rugby? And talk strange English. Where does he come from? No one can understand him. Says Cornadi? We'll go with Cornadi. It's probably not Cornadi, but, it's my bad English. Sorry. We have got their scrums are too slow, says Mike. And All Blacks doing well. That's a good URC team, says Cool Story. Now, Ahmed, though, after the penalty was won by the Stormers at scrum time, they will kick it into touch. 3 is getting owned. Yeah, Pasilio Tossi is having a hard day at the office with Vernon Matongo here. And Tossi, third scrum penalty, says Nada Boy. And the crazy thing is, right, if you take Tossi off, you've got Siale Lawaki, a guy who hasn't had any game time for the All Blacks, but they might have to chuck him out there. Now, Andre Hugo Fanta, nicely taken again by Connor Evans. Good challenge in the air from the All Blacks, but Evan Russ now sitting 40 metres out from the line. Told to use it for Stephen Nkura. At this point, add South Africa back to Super Rugby. Oh, rolls drop there. Oh, shoulder to shoulder from Sanatlo, who does eventually get that ball into touch. All Blacks need to settle. A lot of new combos out there. Probably just need to not overplay their hand, says Jeff. We have there Vernon, who can't even make the Stormers URC bench, says WLK. But yeah, he's been doing phenomenal here. We have got there, get Rico Ioane off now, says Simon. Whereas the running rugby they played against Ireland was incredible to watch. It's shown glimpses of it, but we've also got to remember that the Stormers side, throughout this first 30 minutes, they have been taking it to the All Blacks too. It has been quite impressive to watch. I can't believe we've already had 31 minutes, by the way. This game is flying by. Cortes Ratama inside of the 22 again. And it will be booted down into touch. The Stormers are obviously collapsing the scrum. Why would they intentionally collapse 5 metres out? The ref is a complete joke. One Stormers, ABs need to smash, says Dub. Is there anyone in the world who does not love Dion Foree, says Longku. I haven't met anyone who doesn't like Dion Foree. You know who really loves Dion Foree? His medic. Because they get to spend a lot of time together. That man has almost retired multiple times, but he always bounces back somehow, some way. Did he have a beard? Keep growing it? I was actually going to shave it Like I mentioned before the stream that I was probably shaving it tomorrow, but don't know whether or not I keep it now. Stephen Nkura going across there to Jonathan Roach. Again, tackled by Segner and Larkai. Seem to be working in unison throughout this first half. Now the captain, or no, in fact, is Andre Hugo Fenta, having a run to Vanacha, kicking it in behind Morby, having to wait back there for an awkward bouncing ball. It's another knock on. No, it was off the head, says the referee. Tackle on the ground from Morby could have been the advantage, but the Stormers in possession of the ball again. Ball comes out the back. Leroy Carter putting the pressure on. Loose ball still. It's very loose. It's very scrappy, and eventually it will be a penalty to New Zealand, and a bit of a flip there from Andre Smith on Leroy Carter. Leave it on Hamish, says Powerhouse. We have there, this game is a shambles, says Simon. But now, Bowden Barrett with the penalty here about 40 metres out from New Zealand's line. They will be able to kick this one towards the touchline. I don't listen to them, your bed suits you, says Craig Green. And also, more be quiet, says Ruth. And there as well, yes, let's go, the All Blacks keep going, build momentum. And just a bit of adjustment process to the conditions, the last minute changes. All Blacks will gel better in the second half, and they have already decided to go for the quick throw. Now Cortez Ratama gets smashed in the tackle, and Verna Matonga straight on the ball, lightning quick, but he just ends up losing it at the last moment. Everyone always blame the ref, and an English ref who can't speak English is the best accusation ever. Says Flesh in there. Now, moving forward again. Hamish, this is evidence that South Africa would cause problems in Super Rugby Pacific. Says just me. I mean, that Club World Cup is definitely going to be the evidence that people need. The All Blacks not quite playing like the Hurricanes at the moment, but they would love to. That side scored more tries than any other Super Rugby side in the campaign. Cortez Ratama goes back across to Peter Larkai. That man was involved in quite a few of them, as well as Morby playing from the 15 jersey in this contest. Now back across to the left-hand side. Leonard Brown moves it on to Proctor. Can't get through again. A solid Stormers defensive line. Leonard Brown on the short side running it forward. Now Warwick Ladd just wins another penalty for the Stormers. The clean out coming from Bowden Barrett in the end. Where were the forwards? Be a question that the All Blacks will be asking themselves. Why the All Blacks supporters always cry about the ref. You guys don't remember Core? Got away all the time, says Swart. And as we have got there, Alakai Toops outstanding. Leaves Super Rugby for the New Zealanders and the Aussies. And like and subscribe, says My Bad Gamer. Yeah, anyone who hasn't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are here for the whole Greatest Rivalry Tour, as well as the Nations Championship fixtures that are taking place later on in the year. We're here for the World Cup. We got a donation from Oswald in there. They were horrible, bud. We were lucky this year. They were horrible, bud. We were lucky this year. As in like this who's that for? The Stormers? Or for the All Blacks? And we have got there, see what I mean, can't get going. That is going to be a not straight line out, though, from the Stormers side. Andre Hugo Fenta having that little bit of a mistake there. So the New Zealand supporters looking to win every game, or looking in this pre-tour matches as a build-up towards a stronger depth in the ranks. I think that, of course, the goal for New Zealand in these warm-up games will be to win them all. But at the same time, there will be a lot of rotation. How's the analysis of the game so far? Says Jeff. A lot of penalties against the Kiwis. A lot of great work from the Stormers throughout this game, though, that they seem like, I think, I will admit, I was very wrong. I thought the Stormers side would show a little bit of rust, but they seem like maybe the rust was the first 5 minutes, and that's about it. Dion Faria, legend, all the way from Bulls country. Now scrum for New Zealand, 40 metres out. Going away to the right, Leonard Brown inside border, Rico Ioane. Bit of a set play used there from New Zealand. Ratama trying to go through. Great low tackle made by Dion Faria again. Almost got himself offside, but perfectly timing it, says Carl Dixon. Ratama crossed to Taukiaho. Looked to his side and didn't see as many options as he would have liked. Iamani tackles him. Now Holland. It's a man who's disappeared in the last 10 minutes or so, at least from ball in hand. On to Leonard Brown. Proctor moves it across to Josh Morby. Now Ratama. Skip past to George Bower. It's his first carry of the day, I think. Now Bowden Barrett across the Taukiaho, pops it in behind. Leroy Carter knocking that ball backwards. Acceleration off the mark, but so does the man who makes the tackle on him. Ciabello Sinatla, quick hands from Taukiaho. Segner does the same, but he throws it into touch. And South Africa, the Stormers, will have themselves the line out. I didn't expect the scoreline at this time. And are you going to do tomorrow's game as well, the Box versus Argentina? We certainly are. And also alongside that, we've got Japan versus Australia too. So 2 more matches taking place for this weekend. Dion Ferri, more ice on that shoulder. At this point, that man is held together by tape and screws. I think that was just from making the tackle on Taukiaho, who did not move when Ferri collided with him. And IMG, All Blacks are looking like Ireland, says Nutter Boy. You see, New Zealand will have to have a really hard think about what they want to do here for the second half. Do you make rotation or make a little bit of a reshuffle of this backline? I believe Josh Morby from 15, we haven't seen him enough as of yet. Bring Kyle Preston on, says Matthew. Although to Ratima's credit, I don't think he's been the issue here for New Zealand at this point in time. But I wonder whether or not we will see some sort of switcheroo from the Kiwis. Maybe, it'd be harsh to take Proctor off. But at the same time, is it the right choice? Holland going away. Ratima now on the halfway line for New Zealand. Rico Ioane delays the pass, accelerates off the mark, and now moves into the 22 for New Zealand. Wataka Lant again looking for the steal and the breakdown. Ball pops out the back for Segner. 10 metres from the line. Can they strike just before half-time? They cannot, because there's another penalty. That is against Ciabello Sinatla, who tries to throw the ball away. Ratima taking the quick tap. New Zealand up in the tempo again here. Bowden Barrett across to Proctor. Wide cut our pass to Fabian Holland. Moves it on to Simon Parker. Drops his head. Puts the ball down over the line. And he scores the try for New Zealand. But they want to check it. I'm not sure what it is that they actually know. They have now awarded it. Simon Parker, after his yellow card earlier on, does score the try before the halftime break for New Zealand. Now let's go, boys. Here's scheme. This is like watching the Lions, a team who unfamiliar partnerships, playing boys who train together all the time. Even if they're missing their best, Rennie will learn a lot about his players, says Paul McIntyre. But Simon Parker still had a lot of work to do. He had to beat 3 defenders to be able to finish that one off. Got round the outside of Sinatla, then had Diamani as well as, I think there was Duvanaka. No, it was Evan Rus. He's got the power, Simon Parker. And Stormers are awesome. Says scheme there. And we have got there Proctor off Simbin Sinatla. Says Matthew. Now Bowden Barrett, this is not going to be an easy kick right out near the sideline. But he has slotted it right through the middle of the post. And don't hold your breath for me for the TMO, says Jeff. Yeah, it seems like it's all good this time. I was a little bit worried because I didn't think they gave it initially. Yellow card and a try beating 3 defenders, says John Tipu. Now, just the 30 seconds remaining in this first half. Holland looking good for someone coming back from injury. Yeah, we've got to remember, for Holland, this is his first game back in about probably 6 months or so. But he seems like he's at that standard where he needs to be. A nice break says scheme, and the score at the end of the half feels like a win for us, says Simon Barnes. You see, I do think that the Stormers going into halftime break, 14-7, they'll be happy enough. If the All Blacks score again here, although I don't know if the All Blacks will look to, I think that they are currently in a scenario, in fact, they're not going to be able to, because the ball has been stolen by the Stormers, looking to even the playing field heading into the second half. There is the halftime siren now, though. We have got the donation from Oswald as well. GoFundMe for New Zealand Tissues, crying over ref, says Oswald. And we've also got the Gezi. Anyone seeing this as New Zealand version of a Lions tour? I guess, yeah, a little bit. Oh, drop goal here from Yakin Ahmed. It's missed away to the left-hand side, and that will be the end of the half. That's a bit of a waste from the South Africans there. I feel like the Stormers could have attacked more. You know, they were 22 metres out from New Zealand's line, who have been ill-disciplined all throughout this game. It looks like Proctor is getting a little bit of medical attention. That might actually bring on those switches that I mentioned about heading into the second 40. But, yeah, if you're the Stormers there, you attack. You go for the, couple phases. You try and get that advantage, and then you can go for a drop kick if you really want to. Someone's going to score with 13, see scheme. And as we're considering 2 cards and 100 penalties, the All Blacks are doing well, says Harden up. And also we over there come the Stormers, says Leonard Dude. And to lose 45, All Blacks 22, says Matthew. You really do love your French sides, don't you, Matthew? Maybe they'll be invited to play the All Blacks in a tour. Well, actually, no, they came and played New Zealand. They lost, didn't they? But maybe they'll have some sort of tour in the future of France where they play the French top 14 sides. Game is boring, too many stoppages, ref is one-sided, needs glasses. Stirrers are slowing the game down with too many injury stoppages and the ref is allowing it. Says Cecilia there. And the right cleanouts are a problem, too many turnovers, says Nada Boy. Yeah, we haven't really seen New Zealand protecting that ball too well. It actually was perfectly shown on that near side of the field when Beauden Barrett was the man trying to do a clean-out of the breakdown. There were no forwards anywhere near them. We have G'day Hamish enjoying the penalty fest. I would, of course, prefer a game without the penalties, but I think that as a whole, the closeness of this game I am enjoying. The fact that it's only 7 points separating these two teams heading into the second half. Beauden needs more confidence, a few indecisive hesitation. They could have been punishing in the test. And his first out his scheme, that is very true. Of course, Rennie will learn a few things from this game in terms of what combinations do work, but there was some slight concern for Billy Proctor at the end of that half. It seemed like some sort of knock that he did end up suffering. All games will be hard in South Africa, says Richie Mon. In danger for the Stormers, as once the game opens up later and subs come on, the All Blacks can easily put 21 points in very quick succession. A new combo says scheme, and I think we should bring back midweek games of the tours. Well, fun fact, John, we've got them in this one. The Sharks are going to be playing up against the All Blacks in only 4 days' time. That is Wednesday morning New Zealand time, and then alongside that, it will be the Bulls the next weekend, and then we've also got that Lions midweek game taking place in 2.5 weeks' time. But it does mean that the All Blacks, there's going to be a lot of rotation. At the end of the day, there are 44 players in the squad, but there are many matches taking place. Like even just these 2 games, you're guaranteed to have at least 2 players. In fact, 3 players, because Savi is still in New Zealand. 3 players will be playing both of the matches just in that first week. Rennie was talking about it as well, how there's many players who had a training session today because of the fact that they weren't playing in this game, but they still have to prepare for that game that's taking place just around the corner. And Proctor's had too many chances this year, and I need a fan and a cold beer. Been a great first half, says Denver there, and ref is ruining the game. His whistle is centre of attention, and every time I seen him ref a game, someone has been sent. Yeah, well, we saw 2 yellow cards in that first half for New Zealand. Holland and Alakai, the only decent players, says Peanut Slab. Although Tolkiaho, I would also say, falls into that category. I think he's done quite nicely throughout that first half. Who else would I say? In terms of the backs, with the exception of Leonard Brown's yellow card, he's actually been all right. But again, anyone who doesn't like Leonard Brown will go, oh, he got a yellow card though, so then that straight away rules him out. Leroy Carty's had some moments, but New Zealand have looked really, I'd say unsafe under the high ball in this game, which is a bit of a concern, definitely because the Stormers have been going for some kicks from within the All Blacks half. 1 second, I'm about to sneeze, so I'll very quickly mute. 1 second, I'll hide off to the side as well. We are good. And we have there, Tossie is freaking disappointing. He's getting owned. Yeah, that's something that not many people saw coming. Because you look at this 4-pack for New Zealand and you look at the size, you look at the weight, and you think, yep, that'll go all right. Because Tossie was penciled in as that guy who was going to be able to come off the bench later on in a game and really add some damage. So I'll be curious to see if they go with Loakai early in the second half. And we have there, don't get it twisted. This isn't even our strongest team and probably won't even play against the All Blacks, says Josiah. I get it twisted. This side definitely won't play against the All Blacks for the test matches because it's the Stormers. We have got there New Zealand fans crying and start supporting, or stop crying and start supporting Kiwi Lad. Says Oswald, and unsafe under the high ball with their high ball specialists on the field. Only reason Morby is on tour. I don't think that's the only reason Morby's on tour. That man scored a record amount of tries in Super Rugby Pacific. He is a clinical finisher out on the wing. But I also don't actually think many people consider him a high ball specialist. In fact, I think there are many better wingers under the high ball than Morby. You've got Caleb Clark for one, who they may look at bringing on near the start of the second half. I think what we'll end up seeing is either Rico Ioane to 13 with Billy Proctor if he has got that injury going off, and then Caleb Clark out to the left wing, or your other option is to take, if Proctor is injured again, Move Rico Ioane into the centres, put Morby out on the wing, Bowden Barrett to fullback, Josh Jacob on at 10. So you got those two options. I think the more likely out of those two would actually be for them to go with Caleb Clark out on the left. And I've got how slow pace South Africa rugby is. Felt like watching 10 minutes of players standing around waiting for the scrum and the line out, says America. And to be fair, we had a lot of scrums and line outs, so there were probably more moments that it was stopped. What can Dossie do? The other prop is folding on him every time. Says Rolink there. Both teams are nervous. The game is lacking flow because of the ref. Says Sven. And what's happened so far? So we have seen it's a hectic game so far. The tempo at the start of the match was absolutely crazy, with both sides looking to really up it. The discipline of New Zealand did really cost them. And then 2 yellow cards coming for the Kiwis. South Africa the Stormers have been more than up for the challenge. They've loved a rolling maul, and they've been able to slowly build their way up the field. And my favourite New Zealand commentator, maybe Justin Marshall, a close second, says Sonia there, and bless you, says Stephanie there. And we have there slow and soft sums up South Africans dropping to injury after every ruck and still losing. Says Yuan. Well, it's the Stormers, of course, as well, we should mention. But the thing is, when Dion Fourie drops for an injury, I believe him, because that man's had so many. We have you there. Remember that the Stormers only have one back left. Says Kiwi Rob. That is true. Going with that 6-2 split and deciding against giving another man a chance. So just Similani, who is very versatile. He can play out on the wings as well as in the centres. Bit of a reshuffle might be on the cards for the Stormers here. I love Hamish. Says Sonia in there too. And we have you there now. The All Blacks have been super average. Says Mike Bester. And how's it, brother? Hope you're doing well. Yeah, all cool. No worries. I'm going All Blacks by 10. Says Birdie for his prediction. Yeah, it'll be an interesting second half. Oh, geez, there's like 100 more comments that I've just missed. I'm going to have to skip them, but I'll go back onto the live stream later on and read the ones that come through at halftime that I have missed, ladies and gents, because there's a lot of them. Oh, we have got there C3PO. Has done his dash, bro. Says Matthew. C3PO. Who's C3PO? I cancelled my Premier Sports for a month, so you're my eyes and ears for the month, Hamish, mate. Says Anthony. So, yeah, we are going to be here for all of the matches. There are quite a few that are taking place throughout this weekend. Well, a few compared to what we've had anyway. These are the 3 matches. Japan versus Australia taking place tomorrow night. That one will be at a 12 p.m. kickoff around lunchtime for you guys in South Africa. And then also Argentina versus the Box. We are going to be covering that one on the channel as well. And we have there Star Wars. I know that he's from Star Wars, but I assume it's a nickname for a player. Maybe. Star Trek says cool story. And all that's coming in from the side. Collapsing mauls, can't scrum for... Says Trev's there. These injury breaks are BS. And also, go the ABs, Brett from Brazil. And Fourie always plays a cracker against the ABs, says Swartz. What do you think this match goes down to the... Or do you think this match goes down to the wire? Honestly, my preview, I said it would start close. Maybe I didn't expect it to be this close for so long, but I do believe New Zealand in the second half, if they can keep that discipline, they are the side out of these two who have the chance of being able to run away with it. Now, I don't know if we're in for a runaway game here, because if the Stormers play their full 80 minutes, they'll be right in this challenge. But the thing that really disappointed me about the Stormers side is the fact they went for 3 at the end of this half, but not 3 as in taking the 3 at the post, going for a drop kick. That was a perfect counter-attacking opportunity after New Zealand had just made a mistake and they were scrambling. That's when you go for the really aggressive style of trying to get it going. We got the Ahmed 2 conservative, and they're going for the 3. I don't know. I feel like maybe if it had gone over, people would be like, yeah, it's all right. I hate to say it, but I believe the refs are going to mess up the series, bro. Says Neil there. And we have got there, again, is soft. And how's the injury update? So at the moment, Ahmad Khan will not be returning for this match, and I don't think he'll be returning for the URC for the first half of it anyway. But other than that, who else has been injured? Fourie's had about 3 issues with his shoulder, but he's still out there on the field. Billy Proctor looked like he had some sort of hurt near the end of the half. But other than that, I think that's all the injuries that we're seeing. Tui Pelota looked slow after 15 minutes. He missed a ton of tackles, and Holland needs to get more game time. But it is doing great. Our Lucy's are awesome. Morby is the best in the back line. Says Bronze Men. Yeah, see, I would also... I know that it's hard to give him credit because of that yellow, but I actually think that Leonard Brown, outside of the yellow card, has had some very decent moments vision-wise, but it just hasn't quite been firing. As I think a lot of people in the comments would rather watch one-dimensional league than running rugby. Go watch a marathon, boys, and let us watch rugby at peace. Says 7. The chat's still flying. And Rassi had to captain tonight. And all that's will pull away in the second half, to be honest. And I'm a Stormers supporter. Says LB, do you think Rassi is watching this game? 100% Rassi is watching this game. And I actually do think, what's the time in Argentina? It will actually be a decent time. I think the whole team will be watching this game and cheering on their boys. We have there, man, seriously. Must we now ignore penalties because you guys want a smooth game? Says Francois. And I'll say World Rugby definitely making rugby soft, says Vin. And have the ABs been trying to nuke the breakdowns? Timon Chase has pointed out as key to his team's defence, says Paul. So I think the All Blacks have been a bit slow getting to the breakdowns as a whole in this game. There were multiple times where it seemed like no one was quite there. What a Kalan has been doing a nice job in terms of being able to try and get those steals. Pepin 9 to the All Blacks 15. Or Pepin Yay, I should say, sorry. Bro, the Stormers are doing a great job against the second best team in the world. Says C3PO. And the Stormers and the officials have played well. Says Sonny, listen, yeah, I think that the Stormers have been thoroughly impressive throughout this first half, but it's about keeping that momentum going. Because if they don't, that's where the All Blacks could run away with this game. Russi will notice the midfield plays AB's used at the start of the game, the same ones Wales did to open our midfield. Says LB, are you covering the South Africa-Argentina match? We certainly are, and we are also covering that Australia versus Japan game on the channel too. Pretty bad performance, I know, because we have Barrett, Ioane, Anton, Leonard Brown, says Ch. I don't know why I'm sneezing so much today. That's the third one. In fact, no, that's like the fourth one. We have their losers always moan about the officials, says Heffler. And All Blacks going to pull away with this game in the second half, says Hutze. And also, no, they haven't been impressive at all. What area are you talking about? Says Rolling. I think that their ability to be able to win penalties against this New Zealand side has been thoroughly impressive. Their rolling maul and the line-out has been consistent enough, I would say. Andre Hugo Fento, I think, had one wonky line-out, one that was stolen by New Zealand. But outside of that, their maul, for a four-pack that are supposedly the smaller on paper, they don't really play like it. This Stormers side, they've been able to get multiple penalty advantages. And also, I think their breakdown work's been impressive in this game too. And Stormers providing their set pieces are a huge, or proving their set pieces are a huge asset. Says Borderline there. As predictable, and Rennie should be very concerned with this performance. Bring on the young guys. Says Churn, I won't lie, this first half has been quite a painful game of rugby, like in general. Says Sean. And Stormers haven't played a month, but the All Blacks fans complaining about last playing in July. I haven't seen too many complaining that the All Blacks haven't played for 2 weeks. I've seen, like I mentioned from the get, I thought the Stormers were going to have rust, which they actually haven't. To their credit, they have come out there and played well from the get-go. Set piece is All Blacks' weakness at the moment. No one is pushing their case for their first team. And the backside move they use blocks the player with the ball from tackles, says Paul Hustler. Just showing there the next game of this series is going to be taking place up against the Sharks in only 4 days' time. That is in Durban. Then they head to Pretoria, the game against the Bulls, and then the Lions as the last URC side. And we have got their RGC Stormers getting any more points. Yeah, I think they will get at least one more try in this contest. We have seen 3 tries, though, from forwards in this first half, which has been quite interesting. The scrum is absolutely horrendous. Our pack is 60 kg heavier, and we are playing like sevens. And we have got their ABs winning contact in most areas. Stormers, a strong set piece and aerial game. Classic New Zealand rugby versus South Africa rugby. Says Mariki, yeah, under the high ball, they have also been very strong. Hamish, forget to shave, lad. Well, I was going to in like a day, but now I've been told that I should leave it, so I don't know what to do, to be honest. Bring the psychopath on, Ethan Blackadder. AB's fallback discipline is abysmal. And also, we got the go the ABs. Says Nazi Williams. Now, Bowden Barrett ready to kick off this second half to get us back underway, and that one's going to struggle to go the 10 metres. It doesn't. So now, an easy scrum on the halfway line for the Stormers. AB's given too much respect. They need to play open, take the risks and get the reward, says Billy Royal. But that is a massive mistake from Bowden Barrett there to start off the second half. Bowden Barrett's career is over. Please bring back Richie Moonga. Technically, any sort of injury, Moonga can come back into the side. He has played his game in the NPC, managed to help Canterbury get the victory with a last-minute try. Bowden in the back foot already in the second half. And penalty for the Stormers, says Dills. I love how this beat Stormers making it a contest. They should feel proud. Yeah, absolutely. It is a testament to the side. And we've got to remember, next season, they have got Cheslin Colby. They have got Wilco Lowe. They've got Seal Kolisi all going in. Oh, another free kick. This time going the way of the Stormers on the halfway line. Duvanacha takes it quickly, goes across now to the youngster Ahmed. Does manage to get through Cortez Aratama. Terrible start. And why did the All Blacks catch it? Should have left the ball alone, says Gutsia there. Ball still on the side of the Stormers here after taking the quick tap. Now going high. Waraka land. Actually looking like it's going a little bit sideways. Ioane trying to slap it back. But we know that man doesn't have a high ball game. So it's taken by Evan Russ. Now Duvanacha. Back across to the left-hand side. Nearly for Share. Tries to bounce pass. Now nicely taken by Gelant, who was shut down by Lakai. Only still 7 points separating these two sides. Hakshiva Diamani. Well, it was a tackle on Dion Fori, even though he didn't have the ball there. Low tackle made by Samasoni Tolkiaho. He is one of the players who have stepped up for New Zealand throughout this game. Now going to the left-hand side. What a Kalan. Going for the kick. It almost hit a medic. And it is going to go into touch inside of New Zealand's 22. You forgot Eamon Smith. That is true. Yeah, they have signed plenty. In terms of that Stormers side, another lost up and under. And bring Clark on, says Matthew. Yeah, I'm not too sure if New Zealand have won an aerial challenge yet in this game that I can think of. Not a clean one anyway. So Clark might be the guy that they need to use for their aerial ability. It looks like Anton Segner is just having a little bit of a chat with one of the medics here. Might have been a head knock that Segner has suffered. Mona Barrett is done, says Piratua. And if the Stormers win now, then New Zealand can pack their bags, says Johan. And yep, same game plan as the first half. Come on, lads. Says Bronze Men. Right, Segner. Is he all right to continue? He looks like he's got his face a bit mashed up at the moment. Anton Segner. He's all right, though. He's going to continue in this game. I don't think we're too far off seeing Ethan Blackadder, though, make his way onto the field. But it's the question of who do you actually bring him on for? Simon Parker scored the try in the first half. Lakai's been immense. Right, Tolkiaho throws it in, nicely taken by Simon Parker at line-out time. Lakai breaking off the back, pops it up to Segner, who moves to the 22-metre line. New Zealand still within their 22, though, so they are able to kick this one into touch on the full with Cortez Aratama. I'm sad there's no spark in the All Blacks. Says Des Spring, Rico Ioane knocks it backwards at least, and then that's the penalty for the Stormers. Accidental offside from Ioane. In fact, it was playing the ball off the feet, so again unable to take that high ball for New Zealand. Sector don't need him injured. We are just seeing there Ruan now. He has been subbed off, and that is for Similani. So no more back replacements for the Stormers here throughout the last 37 minutes of this contest. A couple guys in that 4-pack who could potentially play as a back if they needed them to. But now a chance to kick this one towards the corner again. Get Rico off now. He overran it, Ioane, and then just slipped over. And then ended up dropping the ball and then grabbed it from the ground. The Stormers B-side does well. Says foolproof. They absolutely do. I think that they're really holding themselves to a high standard here. But they need to try and they need it soon just to really pile on that pressure. And messy stuff from the All Blacks, says Cringy Cook. Currently sitting 22 metres out from the line. The rolling ball has been successful for the Stormers so far, although this one has been well defended by New Zealand. Duvanacha back across to the left-hand side. Rush defence from Ioane. Rushed up, missed the tackle. So the Stormers make an extra 5. Now Duvanacha moves it on again to the youngster. Ahmed runs out. Holland with the dominant tackle, something that he was known for throughout his breakthrough 2025 season. Similani, 2-man tackle on him, getting crushed by Samasoni Tolkiaho. Now inside ball to Andre Smith, tackled by Holland again. He's been everywhere throughout this matchup so far. Vernon Matongo, tackled by Lakai, who you could say the same about him. Now Ahmed, rush defence from Proctor, trying to get up and shut it down. And he gets over the ball now too. Proctor, he's injured. Shoulders gone for Billy Proctor. This is a big concern for New Zealand, although they do have the back replacement still. But he looks in a bad way here, Proctor, similar to what we saw for Fabian Holland in his Super Rugby pre-season injury. Now, Patrick Tuipulotu cleaned out in the breakdown. The ball is still there for the Stormers, but Billy Proctor still the concern at the moment in terms of injuries. Ahmed will send it high. Why wouldn't you? When they have been able to get a majority of them. Boden Barrett playing at the Stormers player, and it's another penalty. This time in favour of Sanatla. Boden Barrett playing the man, not the ball. Are we over there? Leave the bed. Says Andy Baby there. And also Mills, Julian, Dag, Corey Jane are good under the high ball. And also we have got there, Greg Bronze says Regan. But yeah, I think that Proctor is now going to be making his way from the field. Yeah, Bowden just not getting anywhere near going up for that ball. So decided his best bet was to just drag down Sanatla. WF the ref, that one's well and truly correct call. Boden Barrett just almost lazy in the way that he thought about going up for that ball. They're saying here that there's some subs that are about to be made, but also there's about to be another rolling maul from the Stormers side. This game is cooked, says Sarah. Are we over there, Bullabro? Says Asala. And Barrett and Rico are past their best. We're going to see it here, though. Proctor was over the ball initially and then just took... Yeah, see, that one to me is very similar to what we saw for Fabian Holland's injury. Proctor's looks like he's got a sore rib as well. He really, like, nothing against Proctor, but he should go off. Mainly because this is a long tour too. So you don't want to go into a scenario where you end up getting an injury here. Now, big man coming on the field, Unthatoko Machunu. People have seen that man in the green and gold not too long ago, but he is an absolute tank and he loves scoring tries for the Stormers. Got himself a double in the last URC campaign. You can bet the box, well, bombard, the All Blacks come to S1. Right, Proctor is off. Is it going to be Clark or is it going to be Josh Jacob? I think you've got to bring on Clark to try and defuse that high ball. Nicely taken by the Stormers again as they look to get the rolling maul marching. Still moving at the moment, and it's rolling quite nicely towards the All Blacks try line. Someone in the middle, it was Dion Foree with the ball in hand, although it's unplayable for the Stormers, or at least it was about to be. But the referee lets it play, and it's in the hands of Nilil Fauchier. Basilio Tossi getting out of that breakdown in time. Currently only a few metres out. This is where Unthatoko Machunu is so dangerous, but Evan Russ has dropped the ball. Counter-attack and play for New Zealand. Anton Leonard-Brown showing a little bit of pace. He's got Rico Ioane on his outside. He will kick it in behind. It becomes a foot race between Rico and Watakaledu, who manages to get back there. Slips over, and Ioane joining that one from the wrong side. Simalani sitting 10 metres out from the line, but the All Blacks hustling in the breakdown. Carter told to get out of there. Joins the new breakdown. Still told to get out of it. And he can't quite believe what he's hearing from Carl Dixon, but Duvanacha manages to clear it into touch. And Duvanacha playing well, very well, since making its way onto the field since about the 3rd minute of the game. There was a big boot downfield from Leonard Brown. This is why Ruiz doesn't get picked, says LB there. Well, to be fair, normally for Ruiz, it's more the penalty count. But the handling has hurt him a bit too. Leonard Brown running forward for New Zealand. Ratama looking away to the right-hand side. Quick hands from Morby. Samasoni Taukiaho. Tackled by Diamani. Now Ratama back across to George Bauer. And a quiet day at the office with ball in hand for that man. I think that's going to change when we see Norris make his way on short ball from Basilio Tossi to the man right next to him in Segna. Moving to the left, Leonard Brown, short ball to Ioane. Advantage flick pass out the back. Morby tries to distribute it, and it's ruled as a knock on. They'll go back for the penalty again. And case in point, why Ruiz can't make the box. And Channel 14 points to 7 for the All Blacks. It is currently the scoreline, although New Zealand now in a good position to try and extend it just that little bit further. Yeah, the Stormers getting pinged for offside there. Leonard Brown going to Ioane and then just flicking it out the back door. Morby not quite able to get that one away clean. And make your timer is off. It has now updated itself. It's 48 minutes through, but now a debutant for New Zealand. It is Siale Luaki. New Zealand looking to go for the corner. The stop start is no accident, but the whole tour will be that way. And Churchill from Norway, says Russell there. Bye-bye Tossi, says Bronze Man. But yeah, he's coming out into a game. I mentioned how much of a challenge it would be for Luaki when he makes his way on to face up against Unthatoko Machunu. Should be a very intriguing head-to-head. So Bodie off and put him in the taxi straight to the airport, says Joe Bo. Now line out for Taukiaho. So far, we've only seen forward scoring in this game. Thrown in Tuipulotu. Brilliant one-handed take from the captain. Now Taukiaho inside ball to Segner. They're 5 metres out from the line. New Zealand, Caleb Clark with a pick and go. Still sitting about the 5 out. Ratama goes short side to Anton Leonard-Brown. Another big shot from Diamani looking short side once again. Not a lot of room to work with. They'll go back now for a forward pass from New Zealand. It's the call from the TMO who found one. It was the pass from, I believe it was Taukiaho to Segner. And that one has been called by the TMO late. Ruz isn't even the 5th choice, 8 for the box. The game is for deciding who stays and goes. And it's been good for that, says Ryder. Is this high ball horror show from the All Blacks what we can expect through the tour? I'd say from the first team, no. But from the secondary team, probably. You know, you look at someone like a Will Jordan. It is forward. So I probably saved a couple of extra phases, to be fair, which would have eventually been ruled out anyway. But, you look at someone like a Caleb Clark, a Will Jordan. Those type of players are going to be the ones who can help New Zealand in the high ball scenario. I was definitely forward, says Bronze Men there. And Bodie said he wouldn't overplay his hand. Then what does he do, says Simon? Yeah, well, he went for the cross kick and the grubber within the first 5 minutes, didn't he? We have got there, that was forward. I don't know why you're complaining about, says Jaden Philander. That one's going to be now another scrum. Reset here, 50 minutes through the contest. So much for the All Blacks running the South African teams off their feet, says C3PO. Still first game of the tour, though, isn't it? I feel like the Stormers, as poor as New Zealand have been here, the Stormers, I believe, also need a lot of credit for what they've been able to do throughout the game. And I don't like the fact that the story that will be written about this is how badly New Zealand played, rather than how well the Stormers have, if that makes sense. I feel like the Stormers do deserve their flowers. And we have got there, according to the advanced mathematical model using AI and statistical analysis, Rua should be the Springboks' first choice. Along to the first half take, says Studs Race. It was a relatively long one. Big scrum from the Stormers and another penalty advantage. They will be able to get this one down the field here. ABs are playing the 3rd Stormers team. Okay, so it's become the 3rd rather than the 2nd like it was in the first half. But what a Kalant. Now passing away to the right-hand side. Finds the hands of Similani. They'll go back for the penalty yet again. We have there, Rua's not a real bot. He's a club-level player. And Brutal Scrum says intellectual. That's tight head. So that is, that is Loaki. Oh, quick tap taken by the Stormers going short side. Out to Sanatla, inside ball to Andre Hugo. Fed to great acceleration from the number 2. Passes on the inside to Amir. One more. This could be a full field. Oh my goodness. He's just been absolutely smashed there for Sanatla, and Leroy Carter wins the penalty for New Zealand. They went the full about 80 metres down the field there, South Africa, and then the penalty won by Carter at the last moment. That is some of that Sevens experience. We have got there, I don't know what to say about Rus. I just really hate the guy. Says now Carter off his feet. If anything, it's a penalty. Yellow card for the Stormers, says LB. And at the final whistle will be the 5th Stormers side, Hamish, says Anthony Walsh there. But this is a great counter-attack and play. Andre Hugo Fenta. I mean, I knew he was quite speedy off the mark, but that was some brilliant acceleration and then just absolutely smashed by Anton Leonard-Brown, who threw the body on the line to be able to stop it. Let's go defense. Even Ruz going to lose his position to Honeycomb. Ruz is bad. And I'm from South Africa and never claimed to be objective, but I really dislike this tendency from some to disparage the opposition by saying it's just our 2nd, 3rd, 4th team. Says Yanko. Yeah, see, I've gone against it a little bit too, because at the end of the day, I think that definitely with the young talent coming through for sides, calling them secondary just feels a bit rough. Like for certain players, you know, as soon as they put a young player in a team, they go, oh, it's the B team, even if it's just one guy. But I feel like it's not the case. Everyone is there for a reason. International rugby has become so competitive and also such a high level over the last Like, I mean, it's evolving each and every year. So to be in a team and be in a squad, you are the top of the top. You're better than, 99.99% of the others. Now there's an advantage for New Zealand. Beauden Barrett going for the chip and behind. Leroy Carter slaps it back. They'll go back for the penalty again. As for crawling off the feet. Crawling off the feet seems like one that we normally see from Evan Roos, but I'm not sure if that was who got penalised for it. We have the hours of Hamish Rugby weekend, so happy to be back home. And George, South Africa, says Marius. We have got their record a man with a ball, says Regan. And Hamish always the diplomat, says right now, and BS struggling against the weakened Stormers, bro. Says MK, yeah, but it's also a weakened New Zealand team, isn't it? Like, of course, it's international versus URC, though. So in that regards, that's why earlier on the stream, I said how much credit needs to go to the Stormers side rather than people just saying, oh, it's because the All Blacks are playing badly. I think there are guys in the Stormers, including that man, Dion Foree, who are really putting their names in the hat. Oh, a little bit of afters there in the breakdown too. Foree doing Foree things. And we have got there, who scored so far in this game. We have seen the tries from Simon Parker, Samasoni Tokiaho, and also Andre Huafenta. And we have got there, come on, the Stormers. Whose ball? It is now the Stormers. They will be about 22 metres out from New Zealand's line. Barrett is so readable. Sag off and let him put a half-assed bag kick over, which hands over possession to the South Africans, says Jonathan. But Dion Foree, the Jacqueline machine. Shoulders seems to be all right at the moment, which is fantastic news for the Stormers and their upcoming season. He became the oldest Springbok debutant in 2022 at over 35 years of age. That was 2022, by the way. He is currently, I believe, about 38. Brilliant running line from Ciabello Sanao. Oh, he's landed on his head. Okay, the Stormers have scored, but adrenaline almost just broke Ciabello Sanatla's neck. He is dancing in the in-goal area too. That could have been so bad. Like, really, really bad. But luckily, he's all right. It's a brilliant attacking run, we should say. But this dive here, oh, he tucked the net just in time. He almost, that could have been awful for Sanatla. We have got there, Kenya as the crown jewel of East Africa, says Katana, and Sanatla and Gelant are impressive, says Ali Wood, and deserves it today. He's had a phenomenal game. See a Bello Sanatla. And Stormers deserve that try. Don't fall off your chair, Irish, says Regan, and Irish calm down, says Albert there. That one's going to go over, and that is going to make the score now 14-14 between these two sides. I haven't seen you in so long. You got your bearded, says Robert. And Beauden Barrett back on the plane expired, and that's all they can do, says Heinrich. And how close to the post? Straight between the posts, so an easy tap over for Ahmed. Excellent try, 3 out of 10 for the dive, says Studs raised there. Yeah, that dive made me very nervous, to be honest. But he's all right. That's the main thing. Right, Bauer is off the field, and that is for Ollie Norris. The fact that Rieko Ioane is still on the field is quite surprising for New Zealand. Another penalty advantage against New Zealand here, and they'll go back for the penalty, playing the man's arm. We have got there very concerning. C3PO, and that 43-10 creeping in slowly. And as we have got there, Friday is not midweek, says Heinrich. And I was like, damn, Stormers spilt my coffee. And smashed them, All Blacks, says Manny. And when do we see the up-tempo All Blacks? Normally it's that final 20, so we're getting close to it now. But I do think if the All Blacks want to up the tempo, they have to make changes. I think that you have to get a couple players like an Ethan Blackadder out there on the field. I don't know who you put him on for, but I do think that he needs to be there. We're hearing almost I was going to say a Viking clap, but it's actually like a rowboat coming from the high school students. Now, this one's going to be held on to by the Stormers again. TAB were paying 13 for the Stormers win. They were paying 17 at one point. Currently, I'd say they'll be paying like 2. No, they're paying $5.75 at the moment. Now back across to Duvanacher. I don't believe there's a penalty advantage at the moment, but give it time. Now stepping nicely on the inside was Jonathan Roach. physical old type of contest from that number 12 jersey. Connor Evans, tackled by Tui Pilotu. Clean out through the side. Oh, it's a knock on from Similani. Mistake made there for the Stormers. Holland trying to fire up his forward back too. And we have there Roach is outstanding for the Stormers. It's much harder for the All Blacks than it is for the Stormers, you got to admit. Is it? I don't know. I think I'd almost disagree, only because at the end of the day, this is an international team versus a URC side. Parker isn't cut out for this. There's no excuse for entering them all. From the Stormers side at this point, says Big Clan. But at the moment, it looks like the subs are being made. You have more viewers than World Rugby stream of the match. That is because they have limited who can watch it on World Rugby. Oh, that's a call and a half. They've taken Fabe. Oh, well, I guess because they got the captain, don't they? So you can't really take your captain off. But I think if you were being critical, you would take Tui Pilotu off, leave Holland out there for the last 20. But I guess that's also down to the fact that this is his first game back. You don't want to run him absolutely to the bone here. Tempo requires controlled possession, not happening yet. Says Studs Rays here. There's still a little bit more time. Now, quick tap taken by New Zealand after winning the free kick off the scrum. Now, Leonard Brown moving forward. Going away to the left-hand side with Ratama into the hands of Derry. He was impressive throughout the first two matches in the July International. Now, Ratama goes on to Bowden Barrett. Tolkiaho back to Ioane. Passes it behind Blackadder. Still manages to get a few post-contact meters. Just not good enough. Says Daniel Cleary. And we have got there a great shift from Holland. He is class, says Finn Sands. He's definitely up there in terms of man of the match candidates if New Zealand do get over the line. Isn't that a crazy statement too? 20 minutes to go if the All Blacks can beat the Stormers. Ratama. Oh, that's a big shot on Loaki, and he's knocked the ball on too. Now Stormers with the counter-attack. Bowden Barrett makes the tackle on Das. Diamani going in behind Similani with the grubber. Derry gets back. Brilliant work from the replacement lock to just get back ahead of Ruiz, as well as I believe that was Gelant. But got back just in time. But it was almost another one for the Stormers there. What a shot though on Loakai. Welcome to international, international friendly, I guess, but it's kind of, he's in an international rugby kit. It's still a confusing what you call it, but just getting there in time, Derry, to be able to stop it with Similani and Ruiz from being able to get through. Now Bowden Barrett kicks that one off. That one's going to bounce. That's an interesting tactic from the Stormers to leave it, but Army goes straight through. The chipper behind asking for the penalty. Bowden Barrett's knocked the ball on again. Now the loose ball picked up by the Stormers. They thought about sending it wide. It's a knock on, but they'll go back now for the initial knock on from Bowden Barrett. They're back in the 22. The Stormers in a very dangerous position. What's the score currently? 14-14, soon to be maybe 19-14. Depending on what happens off this play. And hold the ball, and great defence from that All Blacks lad, says Cringy Cook. Yeah, so Sam Derry covering a bit of turf. This is crazy to say, right? But I don't think it's crazy to say in this scenario. I think Bowden Barrett needs to be swapped for Josh Jacob, a man on debut. Is that crazy to say, or is it just the right thing to do in this scenario? And Barrett seems to be having a shocker. He has, yeah. Are they playing at altitude? No, sea level. So it's nothing that's to do with the gas tank, but a Safwa Moore. He is now on the field, replacing Samasuni Tolkiaho. So a new front row now for New Zealand. Away, aren't they correcting that knock-on call, says Studs Race. And we have got there Loaki is having a tough introduction. Yeah, he was the one in my preview that I mentioned about how this is actually a really tough test to chuck him in. Duplessis Karefi must be enjoying this if he's watching it, giving the finger to Reddy. Although I don't think it's so much the loose forwards that have been the problem in this contest. Don't get me wrong, Parker's given away a couple, but Karefi can't play 6. So if you're looking at Karefi versus Segner's had a solid enough game in that scenario. So yeah, I'd say there are a couple other guys still in New Zealand who are probably frustrated with not being in that squad. In certain positions, definitely with how it's going. Another penalty advantage. This time going against the Stormers. Now what the actual 14-14 knock on from Tui Pilotu. So they'll go back for the New Zealand penalty here. Attack isn't sharp with Barrett at first receiver. It is readable. Where's the backdoor passes, people running as decoys. And one thing that I've noticed is something that Damien McKenzie actually takes a lot of criticism for. But with Beauden Barrett at 10, New Zealand have been very much so moving laterally rather than forward. They've been going a lot of cross-field, and then from there, the Stormers are quick enough to get up in there and stop it from being too much of a breakaway. But yeah, it just seems to be the angle that New Zealand are working at. They're always going at a 45 rather than that straightening run. That's something that someone like a Quintal Pyatt does offer you, being able to then crash forward or even just getting a couple of the forwards in the action and trying to drive a little bit harder. But ball is on the side of New Zealand currently. Leonard Brown, that's a great piercing run from him, managing to break through, making those few extra meters. Now popping it across Sam Derry, Beauden Barrett up to Rico Ioane. Ball comes out the side. Leroy Carter ends up playing halfback from about a first receiver role. Now Ratama going away to the right-hand side, finds the hands of Derry, who took a nasty knock from his teammate Tui Pilotu, but it seems like he's all right. Lawaki now firing in a mind. Beauden Barrett goes to Morby, another man who hasn't had anywhere near enough of the ball in this game. Caleb Clark passes on the outside to Carter, cuts back in. Turf starting to rough up a little bit here by the looks of it. Carter's boot got stuck in the mud. Now away to the right, Norris goes to Lakai, 45 metres out from the line. We got the donation there from Slow GT. Thank you very much. Now passed on the outside. Knock on from Leroy Carter. The pass from Clark was low. And we have got there, Rico looks, Unko. And Beauden is looking for the towel to throw in and take Barrett out. He shouldn't be in the All Blacks touring squad from the word go. And I want to see Preston and Ratama. Can't believe the ref for losing the ball forward, says Francois. Exactly right. Another knock on from the Kiwis. But the scrum has been dominant for the Stormers too. Okay, Justin Marshall almost got himself into some hot water with how he was wording that one, but he's pretty much said that the Stormers have been on the referee side for the scrums because of being more dominant in that department. Had to finish that sentence he did, or else he was going to get in a lot of trouble. We have got the All Blacks playing like bad. And I thought the All Blacks would shake off the nerves. How to beat the All Blacks, just turn up and watch them implode, and Stormers don't even have some of their players. I've been saying it for a year. A few injuries to this All Blacks team, and they're not going to get, or they are going to get smoked. This is not 1976. Although 1976, they did lose to the Stormers, right? At 12 points to 11. Now, scrum holding for a second, but now the Stormers, oh no! The Stormers push, but the All Blacks get the penalty. And now Ratama taking that one quickly, slips over though. So it stops the backline movement. Derry plays half, picks it up, looks to spin, tackled a bit high from Connor Evans. Ratama looking short side again. The All Blacks, have they got any tricks left up their sleeve? Going to have to find one relatively soon. Asafua Moore going up to Ethan Blackadder as the All Blacks move up to the 22 and more. That was optimism. Decides to go to the short side with no space whatsoever. Makes a meter. Simon Parker running it at Evans. Now Ratama going across to Patrick Tuipulotu. And Ratama again goes across to Ollie Norris. Still the 22 metres out. That was backwards from Ratama. Crowd thought that maybe it had travelled forward. Derry on the shoulder of Ntatuko Machunu. Good clean out in the breakdown as well from Asafua Moa Tuipulotu. Trying to break the line. Offloads up from his back. Now Leonard Brown inside ball to Lakai. New Zealand slowly and methodically building here. Tuipulotu, another carry from him, protected by Blackadder in that breakdown. And that is somewhere that, as much as people don't like Blackadder, he will help the side drastically. Rico Ioane pick and go and scores the try for New Zealand. He's had a very interesting game, to say the least, but that is a crucial try there for Rico Ioane. And All Blacks struggling against the officials. And we have there the most indisciplined team. And also we have got there so much for the All Blacks running the Stormers off their feet. Says Maka Maka and good stuff. Says Matsu Tendai. But Rico Ioane, he, like I said, he's had a mixed bag of a game. But that score could be the most crucial try for New Zealand in this game. Stormers look tired for some reason. But they just showed it again for the Rico Ioane try. It was greatly done by New Zealand. 1 second, we'll go like that. And we'll go like that. I think Sky Sports are having a little bit of a glitching session at the moment. It seems like they're stuck on the same moment over first game for a lot of these guys in a long time rust as expected. So here's Amaru. And we have got there, where's Jim Henson? He seems to have lost 15 Muppets. The All Blacks is embarrassing. Right, we got the replay of Rieko Ioane's try again. I think we'll be about a minute behind on the coverage just for now, ladies and gents, because of Sky Sport glitching out a little bit. There we go, now it's back. Beauden Barrett from 22 metres out on the angle. It's starting to hurt now, says Rutu. And does get it over Barrett. Making the score 21 points to 14. Tavanawa should had to start centre alongside Leonard Brown, says Dylan. We lost both our nines, says LB. Concern there for Duvanacher. It's time for the old boys to hang up the boots, bro. I told you Karefi at centre would be a problem, says Tyler Scott. But this is not good. Like, not just for this game, but for the URC. The URC is 7 weeks away, and currently the Stormers have lost Ahmad Khan and Duvanacher. They've got Ryan. Is Ryan still at the Stormers, right? Who are the other options in the 9 jersey for the Stormers in their season? Head on ahead to Rataman, not even shown on the replay. How corrupted can it get? Says Dub there. But now Mlaba will make his way on. I'm not sure who will be playing halfback now for the Stormers, as they did go with the 6-2 split. So who plays 9 for the Stormers? At a guess, I would say either Similani. I'm just trying to... Or actually, I think Zas might. For me, I'd play Zas as halfback and then have Similani out on the wing, I would say. That's kicked off. Nicely taken by the captain, Tui Pelotu, just outside of the All Blacks 22. Bit of a counter-ruck from the Stormers. Told to get out of it. Leroy Carter managing to get the clean out on Kiki Morabi. Asanatla says, Matthew, that is true. He could also play it, couldn't he? So, yeah, I think it will be a winger, though, more than likely. And then they'll try to put credibility into the team, says John. And Sanatla's playing halfback at the moment, says Gershon. Nicely taken there. Now, Sanatla on the near side of the field, going across to the right. So, yeah, Sanatla is going to be the man in charge of the passing. That one was a bit of a wobbly one, but nicely taken by Evan Ruiz, tackled low by Lowaki. Or Lowaki, I should say, sorry. Now, backwards is the call from the referee. Big seller dummy from Waikaland. Jonathan Roach, draw and pass. Caleb Clark down on the wing, makes another crucial tackle and almost drives them into touch 2. It's going to be cleaned up by the Stormers. Ollie Norris looking for the steal. Now playing halfback this time was Roach. Oh, this looks like an injury for Diamani too on the far side. In fact, that might have just been a little bit of cramp. Big tackle made by a Safwa Moore on JJ Kutsia. Now Sanatla down by 7 at the moment with 10 minutes on the clock. Roach, that was high from New Zealand. It almost looked like head-on-head between Blackadder and Larkai, though, rather than the Stormers player. Similani trying to spin, but great low tackle made by Carter. Now Sanatla, short ball slipping over. Blackadder makes another tackle. Now Zas this time plays half. Now trying to join the breakdown, but Larkai gets the clean steal, decides to take it to ground. And Stormers are tired now, says Francois. Looks like New Zealand going to try and run this one out from inside of their 22. Josh Jacob on the field now. Leonard Brown instead decides that the kick is the better option, and he has given it an almighty hoof. An excellent kick downfield from Leonard Brown. The chase is on, but Diamani, cool and composed, manages to get around the outside, slips over, looks for the offload to Ruiz, who's knocked it on. Accidental offside. In fact, you probably call it as just offside against JJ Kutsia there, but New Zealand have got the knock-on advantage. Josh Jacob now going to the left-hand side, draw and pass with Caleb Clark, offload back to Jacob, pops it almost up, no, decides to hang on to it. Currently 9 minutes left on the clock. Here's a Safua Moore, man that you got to tackle within the first metre or two, or he makes you pay, and he may have actually made one of the Stormers players pay a little bit there. He was down a bit longer. Great step from Peter Larkai. Pinning the ears back. Outrunning Similani. Carter down the wing. Charging forward. Spins out and scores the try there. Leroy Carter. New Zealand get 2 in maybe about the 5 minutes. That should almost secure this game now. That was bizarreness. It was really weird, wasn't it? But the try for Leroy Carter. Both wingers managing to score for New Zealand now. And Stormers backline are confused, as you would be if you're missing two halfbacks, though. Like, that's always going to throw off a backline a little bit. And a great offload from Peter Larkai. I've changed my mind. I said Holland was man of the match. Larkai's got to be it. And he's playing the captain's jersey. Where do you put him? I think you got to put him at 7, don't you, when Savi is back? So weird hearing another Carter, the All Blacks jersey. Might be forward pass, but the Stormers might be gassed now after all the defence. Now Josh Jacob to line up the shot. He's got about 5 seconds remaining on the shot clock. And he strikes it, and he gets it over. Tell you what, she's been a good day off the kicking tee for both of these sides. And we have got there this dude speaking about the pace. My brother, this is a B team. And we have got there 28 points to 14 point lead. We have got there when is Kamati not as prominent, or why is Kamati not prominent for the All Blacks when they do the haka anymore? I think they just split it a little bit more than they used to. Nice conversion. CSC 3PO. Also, I think it's a testament to how many big games there have been that you see in Kapa Opanga a lot more. But it is now 28 points to 14. 7 minutes remaining. The All Blacks got another one in them. Nicely taken by Patrick Tuipulotu. But the penalty goes the way of the Stormers' obstruction from New Zealand. A 4th string AB smoking the Stormers, says Simon. That is not a penalty, says Nutter Boy. I'm sure New Zealanders feel better. They have played terribly, says Ven 1. Yeah, there'll still be a few who aren't too happy with the performance that they've seen here. And the thing is, if the Stormers score now, this game is not over. Again, it could be the chance, but we're going to see it. It was Simon Parker, the lazy run back from the All Blacks number 6. I think Josh will start the next game, says Leslie. And with loads of Springboks in the Stormers team too, says Simon. Yeah, although they haven't got as many as they would have. They haven't got Sasha, they haven't got Damien. Line out throw here for JJ Kutz here. And it's overthrown. Awkward bouncing ball picked up by Patrick Tuipulotu. He's actually got a little bit more active in the last maybe 15 minutes or so. But Kyle Preston also on the field. I have to say, though, some of the replacements have changed this game for New Zealand. A couple of pungo for teams we've got, or who've got a victory over New Zealand. Says studs raised there. At one. Has not found touch. So now the counter-attacking chance for the Stormers here running for Waraka Land. It was the shoulder from Asafua Moore. Now Sanatla still playing as that number 9 Matsutendai. Thank you very much. It is greatly appreciated for becoming a member. I have access to those emojis on the channel too. Good attacking run forward. Making his way off the bench was Ruan Ackerman. To go with the 6-2 split, and it's probably backfired a little bit for the Stormers here with the injuries that they've had in the back line. Now going across to the right, drop ball there from the Stormers. Kyle Preston passes across to the left-hand side. Jacob kicking it in behind. It looks like a foot race here. Jacob currently is leading the charge for New Zealand. Charge down with his face there from Morby. Picks the ball up beautifully out wide. New Zealand get their third. The last 20 is not just a myth for this side. They have proven it again that they can finish a game strong. And 33-14 now the score on the board. We have got there, we were playing a forward on the wing and a wing at 9. It's always going to end in shambles. AB's going to run away with it, and we're poor before the injuries. And we have got there, a provincial team in New Zealand will beat this 60-minute team for the Stormers. Says what's there from Shill. And also something you can't compare the two, either way the Boks are coming. But a great pickup from Morby, clean as a whistle. I've never I guess the blowing of the... I mentioned about that on another live stream, didn't I, how I didn't understand that saying. But it's not the cleanliness of the whistle as in like for germs, it's to do with the sound. Josh Jacob lining up the shot at the post, currently sitting 76 minutes through. This will give New Zealand a 21-point lead if this kick goes over. Although I think it's going to be missing away to the left-hand side by the looks of it, or is it? Yes, just away. So the score now 33-14 with 4 minutes remaining. You do have to give the Stormers some credit. Absolutely. You've got to give them a lot of credit for what they've been able to do in this one. The thing is, I mentioned about it as well. It's going to be talked about the All Blacks and their poor performance here as a whole. Like, scoreline looks pretty decent now compared to how it did look. But the Stormers need a lot of credit for how poorly they have made New Zealand play at times throughout this game. Oh, knock on from Tuipulotu, and it seems like at the moment New Zealand love to gift the opportunity for the Stormers to have an attack just after they have scored the try, but now the Stormers still with a chance. There's Peter Lakai. There is still the knock-on advantage currently in play. Now away to Mlaba. Nice run from Waterkaland. Pace. He's got a little bit greedy though. Tried to do it himself and he almost got held up. He's 1 metre short of the line. New Zealand have to roll away there. Morby has done just that. Now just a couple metres short. It's a drop ball. Is it knock on from Clark? It's definitely a knock on from Leonard Brown. I think it was just a drop ball short of the line. It was picked up clean by Clark, who got a little bit too fancy with it. We have got there. This game gives Rennie answers to some questions. That's what these games are about, says NZ Oreo. And as of the moment Barrett went off, everything started flowing. Yeah. it did, yeah. Which is concerning, to say the least. But, yeah. They'll have some decisions to make, that is for sure. We have got there, it's stupid to say that these teams are playing a B team. Rivalry Tour wants the best of the best. And as usual, a great commentary game, which many thanks. No worries at all, Moa Hunters. We are going to be back tomorrow with Japan versus Australia, as well as the next game that has taken place between the South Africans and Argentina. Peter Lakai cementing his bench spot in Test, very versatile. Oh, okay, a head-on-head as part of the tackle against New Zealand here, by the sounds of it. They're looking at the actions of I think that's from Morby, of whether or not he has done an action high. Oh, actually. So Morby, while grounded, does continue making the tackle on the ground, which I believe this could actually be a penalty try yellow card against Josh Morby here, depending on how Carl Dixon does see it. Button has a lot of injuries. Says Lessie there. Well, if he's got an injury, they're allowed to bring in a replacement fly half, a first five, a 901. He's currently in New Zealand. And come on, the Stormers, fight till the final whistle. And great commentary, thanks, Amish, says Rakaru. No worries at all. But 2 minutes remaining still in this contest. What time is the South Africa-Argentina match? 7 a.m. kickoff New Zealand time. So pretty much 24 hours from now. Just going to see it here. Okay, it's going to be a yellow card against Morby. He originally makes a good tackle. So it's a penalty try and the yellow card in this scenario. The crowd are happy with it. Josh Morby will not be. There's Rehana Hamish, says Leslie. So is that a penalty try for doing what plenty of players do every game? Kind of. I think they said that it was because he had almost released the tackle to then grab him again is the reason that they went a little bit more aggressive with it. GH, love your work. Thank you very much. Now the Bucks almost put 50 on the All Blacks, but their fans are sure they cannot do it against their club. Make it make sense. Says Francois MG, the referee, and TMO dominance is a joke. Says Finn Sands there. And punishment off the field may be perks or extra sit-ups. A great commentary, Amish, says GB. Thank you very much. Now, kicked off by Josh Jacob. 1 minute 30 remaining. It looked like it was knocked on by Leroy Carter. It was certainly knocked on by Patrick Tuipulotu. So another scrum, but the ill discipline from New Zealand in the first half. The handling errors in the second half have been hurting too. Reading these comments, it seems that this match seals it, that New Zealand is going to beat the Box in every match. Says Maria Sim. And Morby stop that, says Rut. Well, he will be stopping it because he won't return in this game. So that's, he won't get another yellow. That's a bonus. Discipline kept the Stormers in it, says Ali Wood. Currently 50 seconds remaining for Zal Moonga. Should straight swap for Parker and Barrett. And they could do the, or they could be a double. Says our underdog. But now ball's being put in by Waterkaland in this lineup. In the scrum. It's really a reshuffle. It's your birthday. It's not my birthday. Still quite a few more months till I get my birthday. Big push from New Zealand at scrum time. And they win the penalty inside of the Stormers 22. Luck, I wanted to take it quickly, but the side, it looks like instead they will look towards the corner. Thanks, Hamish. Good work. See you all tomorrow. I can sleep peacefully as box supporter, says Jaden. At least the All Blacks won, says Josiah. I tell you what, it looked a little bit ropey, didn't it, at one point? But they are up currently by the 12. They'll be looking to make it 19 here. Hamish's birthday is in December, says Lacey. Cheer to the Stormers. They are great helper. And thanks, Hamish. Your beard is safe, says Mark. Suffer one more. With this line out thrown now. And ball is put in. Nicely taken by Derry. This one doing a little bit of side shuffling for New Zealand, but they love to go out on a high. Handling errors are killing the All Blacks. The Stormers have come to play. There's a Safwa Moore who manages to run over the top of Warwick Kalant to finish off this game in style. But a Safwa Moore is definitely going to be a handful in the near future. We see the other All Blacks watching on the sideline. Stormers B going to score again. And the Stormers have always been in Rennie's back pocket. Bye-bye Stormers, says Jobo. And the bad game is still getting into dub, speaks volumes of this team. And as they come on, the Stormers bring that win home. The All Blacks finishing it off with the Safwa Moore try. There's been 3 hookers who have scored throughout this contest. Safwa Moore, Samasoni Tokiaho, and also Andre Higuafenta. Josh Jacob, can he continue with one more conversion? He's sitting 50-50 at the moment. Stormers beat every Super Rugby side, says LB. And be honest, do you think it was a penalty try? I think that I can understand the ruling of the penalty try. Because it seemed like Josh Morby had released him and then grabbed again while on the ground. But that is going to be the end of the game. Josh Jacob missing that one away to the side. So the All Blacks winning their first match of the Greatest Rivalry Tour. 17 points in their favour. 38 points to 21. Was it clean? No. Was it disciplined? No. But did they get the job done? Yes. So I think that is the main thing for Dave Rennie at this point in time. Still having the victory. And also I think a lot of questions were answered. We talked about it earlier on in the contest about certain players needing to step up in this game. There was absolutely a penalty try, and every referee should always award that try, but they never ever do. Says Studs Race here, thanks H. Great commentary as usual. Says, they'll thank you very much who all scored. So throughout this game, we did see for the Stormers a penalty try, Ciabello Sinatla, and then also Andre Higuafenta for New Zealand, a Safwa Moore, Samasoni Tokiaho, Simon Parker, Leroy Carter, and then also Rico Ioane. Thanks, Hamish. Great work as always. And we have got there such a bad game, says Campbell. Was it the greatest game for the start of a Greatest Rivalry Tour? I don't think so, but I do think it will get better. I think that, it's still early in the tour. First game, arguable. To get rid of Proctor and Anton Leonard-Brown, they were so-so. Says Simon. 7 minutes, 13 players is pleasing for me. I didn't expect such a great game from a soft African team. Says Stormers. I think the Stormers did extremely well in this contest. I believe that New Zealand made a lot of errors in that first half, but that wasn't just because of their mistakes. That was because of the pressure that the Stormers were putting them under. Now, New Zealand did exactly what they needed to, and that was finish this game strong and get themselves those few tries later on in the contest. Wasn't impressed by the performance, but they need to pull their socks up, says Dylan. And also, we have got their ref is there to make sure Stormers don't get 100 put on them. Says Socky, although New Zealand gave away a lot of easy penalties that the referee could easily just go, yep, easy enough. It was me blowing the whistle. I don't know whether or not it would have come through because I think my microphone hates whistling. But yeah, another game, 4 days away. And it's going to be up against the Sharks, ladies and gentlemen. We will be covering it on the channel too. So anyone who is new, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We'll also get a post-match review of this contest out in the very near future. But the next games that we are going to be doing on the channel, one of them's taking place at around midday South African time tomorrow, 10 p.m. for us here in New Zealand. Japan versus Australia, and then also Argentina versus South Africa will be the last game of the weekend. But nonetheless, thank you all for watching. I will see you all for the next one.